Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday for the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday. Partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gouch.
We know it's early. Mike's not totally awake yet either. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
So, do we have world peace yet? No, I don't think so. That's not right around the corner at all. But we'll update you on all the news that's happening here in just a little bit. Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. I know it doesn't feel like a Wednesday, but we're halfway through the week already. I could get used to these 4-day weeks. I'm just saying. Listen, on Tuesday's program, we had a kind of a highlight of a unique veterans nonprofit, and they do great work, and they did great work for years, and then took a little bit of a hiatus, and now they're coming back. And so on Tuesday, I really wanted to highlight what they do, and I talked to the founder of Code of Vets. Her name is Gretchen Smith, and she's really dynamic. And we got the update on what they're doing now that they are bringing the organization back and all of the success that they've had. I am telling you, this is one of the most efficient charitable groups I've ever seen when it comes to helping veterans literally in real time. Here's the discussion. Check this out. You know, here at News Talk STL, obviously, we're very, very adamant about advocating for veterans.
Absolutely.
Here, and that's just kind of naturally come just through who and what we are as a station, and you know those who listen, whether on the right or the left. And of course, obviously, with Memorial Day just passing, very different than Veterans Day, of course. But there's an organization out there that I got behind back in when I was doing national shows and things like that because of the speed and efficiency of how they help veterans. And so Code of Vets then kind of ceased operations and moved on to other things, but they're back now. And once I saw that they were back, I contacted Gretchen Smith, who runs Code of Vets, and I'm like, we got to talk about this again now that you're back. And she joins us right now in Code of Vets. That's what you want to look up. And Gretchen, first of all, it's been a while since we've chatted, so I appreciate you being back on the program. I think last time we chatted, we were doing the national show thing. But this is very, very different. I first want to kind of establish what it is that you do, and then we'll talk about why what you do is different and separate than the other services that are out there. So you come across a specific need of a specific veteran, and then you utilize social media, and I have seen you get those needs met in a matter of hours. Walk me through how that happens and what kind of crises are you looking for to help out?
Thanks for having me on, Mike. Absolutely. So we consider ourselves to be a rapid response team. We operate in real time on social media. And I think we've all learned that social media platforms can be incredibly powerful when used for something good. And that's what we're doing is we're as the veterans are coming to us and we're vetting the needs, I am placing them out there in social media world and letting the donors and the followers know what is happening, and they can donate in real time. And then as the money flows in, I can push it right out to the veterans in that moment when they need it the most, because every minute counts. When we have these veterans that are sitting in their car or couch surfing or in a motel room, lost, broken, and with zero hope, and they're in the weeds and they can't find their way out, we walk with them. We fill that gap. We're standing in the gap with them to let them know, you know what, there's help out there, there's hope, and we've got you.
Okay, so what type of give me an example of like a crisis you've dealt with, and then the follow-up question is going to be, Gretchen, how do we know that you're not getting conned, and if somebody donates $25 or $50 or $100 or $500 or whatever they give, how are they going to know that it went to meet that immediate need? Because there's so many pleas for money out on social media.
Oh, absolutely. So they go to the website, fill out the vet need form, and they have to upload their DD-214, their VA ID card, state ID card, and whatever that need may be, whether it's an eviction notice, their water's been shut off, electric's been shut off, and we vet those needs. We call the veteran. We filter out the scammers, and we bring through the ones that are truly in crisis. And when you don't have water for your kids to take baths, that's a crisis. or when there's no lights, or, you've been evicted. So whatever the case may be, we're able to address that need with, like you said, within a matter of hours. So we take our job seriously. These are vetted veterans that are truly in desperate straits, and we want to get them back on track as quickly as possible. And then we also pivot and partner with other orgs to make sure that they're taken care of long term, because we are, Mike, rapid response.
Okay, so somebody's going to be asking the question, and it's a very reasonable one. Say, wait a minute, we've got the VA, we've got all of these, charitable groups, NGOs that are focused on veterans' needs. Why not just look to them? Aren't I already paying taxes to take care of veterans?
Well, the VA is a slow-moving machine. It's massive. It's a beast to navigate, and there is nothing quick or in the moment about the VA system. I think we've all learned that the hard way. If anybody out there has ever dealt with the VA trying to get their claims submitted and approved, it takes months, and sometimes it can take 1 or 2 years. So, and they do have different programs, but there is nothing out there, and there are other NGOs out there, but there is not one other org out there that operates in real time, that uses social media in the way that we do. So that's what makes CodeVets unique, and I think that's why we've been so successful. We've really stood out from all of the thousands of other vet orgs that are out there. We operate in real time, and I don't know of one other nonprofit that does that. It's a lot of work. It's a heavy load, and that's why I took a hiatus. I needed to I'm a veteran. I had to, I needed assistance at some point, and I needed to pull myself together. And now that I'm back, I'm stronger than ever. CodeVets is being built out as we speak right now. We're going to be bigger, better, and stronger, and be able to assist more veterans. We're going to have more of a solid structure in place in order to assist more veterans.
We are visiting with Gretchen Smith from CodeVets, and which platforms are on? Because the handle is the same, just CodeVets, all one word, right?
Yeah.
Which platforms are you on? I would encourage people to look them up and follow those like I do.
Yeah, right now, I started initially on Twitter, which is now X. It's at CodeVets. That's where I've raised millions of dollars and assisted over 8,000 veterans over the past 7 years. And I did take a year off and shut it down, but it's back. And we're building it to where it's going to be a bigger platform where we can have more veterans flow through the system. So, and I'm also on LinkedIn under Gretchen Smith, and I do raise some donations there. But yes, please come find us, share the missions. We're getting ready to become operational again in the next 30 days. And I'm collecting donations now, because the moment we open and we're ready, I want to hit the ground running, because we've already got veterans lined up for help.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that it's almost fascinating to watch in real time, like back before you took that hiatus, Gretchen, is you would see you put out the need and you put out the documentation. It could have been like an emergency, like a car repair so somebody can get to work or to daycare, or like you said, an eviction. I think at one point there were some medical things, all sorts of different things. But then you were giving updates, and then you're showing the actual receipts, I'm certain with the veteran's permission, but you're showing the actual receipts so people know that when this need was or this need was met, that here's the proof of it, and it's out there. And I think one of those, I think I tracked you for like 45 minutes, and you went, I don't remember how much it was, but you went from this person's about to like lose their home because they lost their job or whatever the case was, to, okay, we got them restored, they're good for the next month, and now they've been connected with these other social sources. It was like 45 minutes. It was unreal.
Yeah, it's absolutely mind-blowing, the power behind social media platforms. So that's, and I've learned how to harness that. And we can literally secure a vet and give them hope and let them know that they're not walking this path alone within a matter of an hour or 2 hours, depending on what the need is. And if they do have that eviction notice and they need 2 or 3 months back rent, which is $4,000 or $6,000, there are times when I've been able to send that to a veteran that same day, like 6 hours later, that donors respond to that. So when you put the mission out and then you provide updates, and then you screenshot what the funds that I send so that people can see where their money has gone throughout that day, it is motivating, and it makes you feel good. It just fills your cup that day. You know you've done something good, and you've changed a life, and you've given them that hope and that motivation to keep moving forward.
Gretchen, what does the veteran have to show you to qualify to be one of those that you say, yes, we're on it, we're taking this up? Because there tragically are some people who simply put themselves in positions to where they're not going to make the changes that are needed later. Do you look to screen and say who's legit and
We
just
do screen?
Yeah. What are some of the ways you do that?
Well, we've had, yes, we absolutely screen our vets. We have to, because there are some that are looking for a hand out, and we do not do that. We give a hand up. So if that veteran is motivated and they're either they have a job or they're actively looking for a job, and if they're in between jobs, what we try to do is help them set up to go back and train and use their GI Bill if they've never used it. So we'll assist them in applying for that, and whatever it is, a trade school or just just use that GI Bill, because it will cover your rent and give you that cushion to be able to live while you're trying to redirect your life. So we don't just hand out money. We're making sure that they have a path forward out of whatever situation they have found themselves in. And yes, we absolutely require documentation for everything that we do for our veterans, because not everybody's a good person, even in the veteran community. We all know that, Mike. So we try to weed out those scammers and the ones who are not going to put forth any effort in their life. We have phone calls with them, and if they happen to be homeless, we will speak to their homeless case manager if they have one, or if they're being evicted, we'll call the landlord and confirm it. So yes, we screen it, we vet it, we make sure that it is a true mission, that when the donors are giving, they're giving to a real cause.
And Gretchen, what brought you to this? You've told your story before, and you and I have talked about it over the past years. But what is it that put you in the position to say, this is what I'm going to do with my vocation? Which, by the way, just so people know, when you did this before, your overhead was like ridiculously low. It was single digits. It was crazy.
Yes. So, this is about my dad. It's a very personal journey. It's a passion for me. It's a ministry. It's a calling. My dad lost his battle with PTSD. He was a combat veteran in the Vietnam War, and he never got the help that he needed. And I wasn't able to save Dad. I tried. But, I just used his journey and his story and his life, and I didn't want it to go in vain. And I wanted to do something to make my dad proud of me, to know that I loved him and I honored his service. And so I started Code Vets on a whim. It wasn't. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what it was going to be. I just got out there and started talking about his story and his journey as a daughter, but as a veteran as well. And the veterans just started coming to the platform, sharing their stories and eventually their needs. So it organically evolved into this nonprofit that's become hugely successful. I've raised millions of dollars and assisted over 8,000 veterans, and I intend on. I've set the bar high. Stepped away for a year. I had experienced a divorce and had to pull myself together by the bootstraps and create a new life. So I'm just out there. I want to help these veterans. It's my passion, and again, Dad's with me every step of the way.
All right, and you're saying you get all set up next 30 days or so. This is going to be an actual full-on nonprofit, with receipts 100%. And all that kind of stuff. So somebody donates.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they make a donation, is this something they can write off on their taxes at the end of the year?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. It will be a 501c3. We're getting the EIN number as we speak in the next week or two. It's going to be operational within the next 30 days. And it's just so exciting to get back out there and do this, Mike. It truly is a passion. And there's so many veterans who need our support and help. And it's such an honor to be able to do this. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so the best place to get started, I would encourage people to check it out for themselves. Website, obviously, yes. Code of Vets on Twitter, probably other platforms. But the website's just codeofvets.com, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, Wednesday means that it's time to start sending in those bump music requests for Flashback Friday. Send those to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com, or send us a note on social media here. All right, we've got a lot of ground to cover, as always, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Anthony's Produce, Cole O. Combs, and Heroes Care. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
Every 40 seconds, a child disappears. That's 2,000 children every single day. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization fighting to bring them home, but we can't do it without you. Your unwanted car, running or not, can help find missing kids, reunite families, and support the search and rescue efforts that protect children every day. We'll pick it up fast and free with a 24-hour response, and your donation may qualify for a tax deduction. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help locate missing children and educational programs that teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators before it's too late. Together, we can give families hope and bring children home where they belong. Donate your car today and help bring a child home. Find the Children, because every child deserves to come home.
800-757-1340. 800-757-1340. That's 800-757-1340.
This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, cops and crime. That's headlines again. Happening around the area for a variety of reasons. And we're going to kind of go into more depth on it a little bit later. But the bottom line question is this, is even though it looks like things are moving in a better direction in the region, especially in the city, does it change how we look at places like downtown? At least not yet. Okay, so for instance, yesterday, Andrew Bailey was back in town. Senator Schmidt was in town. They had a big press conference about Operation Viper, and this is where it was a big violent crime crackdown, crackdown on violent crime. And they took 90 some odd arrests, and they found like 36, weapons, mostly automatic weapons, all kinds of drugs, as far as not talking about pot. We're talking about like meth and fentanyl and stuff like that. And so they had a big press conference talking about the success of this. And it was around the region, but primarily in the city. So good results from it. We're not talking about the debate over, weed or anything like that. We're talking about fentanyl. I mean, we're talking about, fugitives wanted for violent crimes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that's part of the news. Big deal. 91 arrests in one region, all of them for violent something. Also, a little bit later on today, St. Louis City Police now say they want to do drones as first responders. So they want 6 of them. I've got more details in the news dump coming up. St. Charles is, as we know, already doing this. So they have to go through, obviously, the Board of Police Commissioners' approval to do that, but that's just another thing they want to put in their arsenal. Okay, well, we've talked about the pros and the cons of that as well. So I think it's easy to say that things are, since the state took over the policing in the city, things are moving in a better direction.
Oh, absolutely.
Without question, it is going. Can you imagine if the old guard were still in power in the city?
Ugh, that would be terrible.
No, yeah. I mean, if you had the Tashara Jones type of thinking, Cori Bush type of thinking, Kimberly Gardner type of thinking, that were still in charge of the city, still prioritizing far left ideology over public safety, over basic services. Not to say that Kara Spencer, I think, is getting everything right, but I think she's doing a whole lot better than her predecessor. But things are definitely, we see the movement in the right direction. We see that that the Board of Police Commissioners is setting things up to move better. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Does it change right now anybody's view on whether or not to go to downtown for anything?
Probably not, unfortunately. I mean, public safety is one of those things where it does take quite a while, even if things are getting better, even if you do a massive sweep and you get a lot of the knuckleheads out of the city, it's still one of those things where you have to feel it. And if you if you already have that predisposition, well, I'm not going to go down there because it's dangerous, and then you don't go down there and to test if you feel safer, which I wouldn't recommend you do if you don't feel safe, then you're probably not going to feel any safer, and it's not going to change your opinion.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we're seeing signs that hopefully there's a time in the near future where I am going to say, yeah, it's okay. I think we can go down there. Like, for instance, my mom's coming to visit next week for a little bit. I'm not taking her downtown.
No.
Maybe another year or two down the road, or 3 years down the road, she comes to visit, and I'm like, hey, let's go to the ball game. My mom is from Chicago, or Chicago area.
Hey, same.
Hammond, yeah. And so just on the Indiana side there. So she grew up a Cubs fan. Well, Cubs are in town this weekend. Now, she's not going to be here this weekend, but if she's in town, she would love to go see a Cubs-Cardinals game. But I'm not taking her downtown at night for anything. No, I'm not doing that. But wouldn't it be nice if in a few years we could do that and not think about it? My daughter lives downtown. I hate it. And she's now saying, maybe I need to get out of here. Yeah, you think? Get your dogs and your cat, and you need to get out of there. Well, I would love to be able to say, no, you're fine. You're young. Enjoy the, the scene and whatever. But we see where things are setting up to get better. The question is, will there be enough follow through to get better, or will the local politics fight that again? We'll see.
There's something magical about walking into your backyard and knowing your family is completely safe and secure. Hi, I'm Sean Long, owner of STL Fenceworks. That's the feeling my team and I have been creating for metro area families for more than 50 years. Whether you're adding your first fence or finally creating the outdoor sanctuary you've always wanted, we offer premium vinyl and stunning ornamental options, all designed around your family's specific needs and lifestyle. While other companies struggle with supply delays and rising costs, we've always proudly used all American-made materials, which means better pricing and faster installation for you. Our experienced craftsmen exemplify our motto, your satisfaction is our passion. From Warrenton to Wildwood, your neighbors trust us because we live here too, and we care about your project as much as you do. Right now is the golden time to build with flexible financing options and a commitment to completing your fence on time and on budget. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. The Republican primary voters of Texas have spoken, and they like Ken Paxton. The candidate endorsed by President Trump has trounced longtime U.S. Senator John Cornyn in the GOP primary runoff. A victorious Paxton thanking the president for his backing, telling his supporters President Trump is a leader of our party and his endorsement is the most powerful force in politics. Cornyn, who tried to align himself more closely with Mr. Trump in the waning days of the campaign, says he will support the Republican ticket in November when Paxton faces off against Democrat James Tallarico. Every one of the Trump-endorsed candidates cruised to victory in Texas. The U.S. military remains vigilant in the Eastern Pacific and the Caribbean. The war on drug runners.
Unclassified video posted on social media by U.S. Southern Command shows a boat speeding through water and then exploding into flames. The U.S. military launched the strike Tuesday on the boat, suspected of transporting drugs in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. One man was killed, 2 people survived. Since early September, the Trump administration has been blowing up alleged drug trafficking vessels in Latin American waters, and at least 194 people have been killed. The Pentagon said last week it will evaluate whether the U.S. military is following an established targeting framework when carrying out such attacks. Donna Warder, Washington.
All evacuation orders have been lifted for the final 16,000 residents living near a damaged chemical tank in the Orange County community of Garden Grove, Southern California. 1 person is dead, several injured, 9 others missing after a chemical tank imploded at a paper mill on the Columbia River in Longview, Washington, a tank holding a volatile mix of dangerous chemicals. Nothing new this morning on the Iran standoff. Strait of Hormuz still closed. Dow futures up 228 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis Metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday for the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday. Partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Spring has sprung at Daniel's Farming Greenhouses on Joggerman and St. Peters. Discover our breathtaking 55,000 square feet of greenhouses featuring 8,000 hanging baskets, hundreds of perennials, and 100,000 pots of colorful annuals. From vegetable plants to premium grass seed, mulch to herbs, our knowledgeable staff is ready to answer all your questions. Start spring off right with pansies, potted tulips, and everything your garden craves. Daniel's Farming Greenhouses. Visit us today on Joggerman or online at danielsfarminggreenhouses.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. May 2011, a major outbreak of tornadoes. Hardest hit, Joplin.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, so let me kind of preview next few minutes here, kind of go over what we're going to be talking about here a little bit. We got a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And I just ran out of coffee. Darn it.
Already. I got coffee, but I forgot to bring my soda.
6:06. I already ran out of coffee. Dang it.
Dang.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go into more depth of this around 6:35. So get your Kofifi going there. Ken Paxton whoops John Cornyn in Texas. That wasn't even close. I thought the momentum was on Paxton's side, but I got to tell you, when I saw the results, I did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah. Wasn't even remotely. I mean, when it first started coming in, I was like, oh, well, maybe we're just seeing kind of like a lopsided.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No.
Corbin was one that said he had voted with Trump 99.
Well, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Like I said,
yeah.
Should have been 100.
Yeah,
should have been 100.
Well, see, on 6:35. So let me bring up that question, though. I think that's what's interesting is because obviously the White House and the Trump administration and MAGA are going to say, look at what we did, and there's no question that the president getting involved, I'm sure, affected those numbers. But when you've got numbers that wide, it looks like Paxton was going to win no matter what.
Yeah.
So that doesn't diminish, especially when you look at Indiana, when you look at some of the other places, that doesn't diminish that clearly Donald Trump still owns the GOP.
Yeah.
Now, if he had come in and said, no, I endorse John Cornyn, would Cornyn have won? No, not with these numbers. Not even, there's no chance.
I tend to agree.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't change the fact that clearly, Donald Trump is still basically, he is giving the orders throughout the Republican Party, throughout the country. No question about that. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. That's just the way that it is right now. So there's the question as to what does this tell us about the state of the GOP going into the midterms and after that. But I mean, that was a whooping. Mm-hmm. That wasn't even close.
Nope. It just wasn't. I mean,
what's there to say about it? Yeah.
I haven't looked at the latest calculation. I need to look at my.
Yeah, but it was like in the 60s versus 30s kind
We've
of thing.
got 63.8% to 36.2%.
I mean, and that is an incumbent who has been in office for 416 years.
And done what?
Yeah.
This is and done what is
Right.
the question that probably most voters are like, you know what? You've been there for 4 terms and.
But the political science of it is that there is comfort with that incumbent name recognition. Then there are those spots where people are like, throw all the bums out. And we may be in one of those right now.
Yeah. I think it has more to do with feeling like, okay, either you're not fully on board with the agenda that we're in tune to, or we just don't see the energy. We don't see what you're doing.
Are you saying Cornyn's not a high energy guy?
I am.
Are you saying he's not like the hot social media influencer?
Yeah, and I don't even care about social media. I just mean just in terms of like energetically doing your job. The bottom line is you're going to get a Republican conservative in his place anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's...
Yeah, you know what's also funny, and again, I want to do more of this at 6:35. It's just hard to pull away from this.
I know.
In Texas, the Democrats like, Tallarico, this is our guy. This is the guy who's going to flip. This is the guy who's going to flip Texas blue. Really?
Yeah, that's what I got to say to
This is
that.
what you're going with?
You do that.
You did a little finger gun there. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. I've got more about this in the news dump here in a little bit. St. Louis City Police Board of Police Commissioners have to approve this, but the city police say, hey, we want some of those drones. They're asking for 6 drones as first responders, because we first talked about this with St. Charles, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
St. Louis City Police are wanting that as well. So one of the things that we were just chatting about, Susie, is I don't think there's any questions that things are clearly starting to move in the right direction in the city when it comes to public safety and law enforcement, but they aren't there yet by any means. But could you imagine if the old guard were still in charge of the city? Not only would there not be, at least we can see the assembly of the right changes, because I don't think it's totally in effect yet, and it's going to be a while. But if the old guard were here, they would be actively fighting for things that make the city less safe.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like maybe everything isn't perfect, but boy, oh boy, I'll take.
We can see where it's going to get
improvement,
better.
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And again, would I still go down there, at night? No, but but you can see where things are starting to come together, and you can see, frankly, the right decisions in the state taking over control of law enforcement again, returning it to the state. We can see that's been the right move.
We have our friend Scott joining us.
Hey, Scott, you're on News Talk STL. What do you think, man?
Good morning, folks. Yeah, I think Trump still has kind of an iron fist over things. And if you look at the folks that he decided to endorse versus those he decided to put in the crosshairs, they were folks that were against him on some kind of major things, the big, beautiful bill, impeachment, et cetera. I think the big story, though, is Al Green, the character who looks like Blackula, that he is no longer going to be able to stand up with his walking cane and yell about impeachment. That, to me, that's the biggest story of all of this stuff. He is such a stooge.
He can do it. He just has to do it on the street corner somewhere. He can't do it in Congress.
He can even still do it in Congress until January, but still. Yeah, that was kind of gratifying to see.
Absolutely. Excellent. Hey, have a great day, folks. Stay well.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it here. So there's a lot of ground because it's really like people are talking about Paxton, Cornyn. I don't know that they're necessarily talking about Paxton and Cornyn. It's really, okay, what's the direction for the next rest of this year and maybe even the rest of the term?
Well, I mean, there's something else to keep in mind. We've got this is a very unusual setup in terms of the fact that there are a number of people who lost their seats. Not that who said I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
But who lost their seats, who are still serving till the end of the term. Does that determine how they vote?
Oh, sure. Because I mean, you're freed. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They've already done it.
Right. So it depends on what you want your legislative legacy to be. And it might be, hey, I'm still a Republican, I'm still conservative, I'm behind the agenda, and I don't, we'll go ahead and do that. Or it could be, oh yeah, double barrel.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what's going to be fascinating, because if you're the whip in political terms, your job is to put the votes in order. How do you go to what do you offer somebody who's on the fence about something? I mean, what do you do? I mean, what do you sweet talk them with? What do you offer them?
A job in the administration.
Yeah, maybe. Unless the administration just puts you on full blast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, they didn't do that to John Cornyn. I mean, Trump, I mean, he didn't. He waited till the last minute to endorse, and he didn't really I mean, he didn't go after Cornyn at all.
No, he didn't. And the thing is, sometimes with Donald Trump, what you see is his influence makes a difference, without a doubt. I think you can look at Indiana and some of the others. But other times, I think they look at the intel and look at the polling, and they're like, okay, this is clearly going to be the win. Go in and endorse before it happens, and then claim victory.
No, I definitely think that's part of the process.
That's just politics.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So there's some of that too, but that's political capital. I mean, and Trump plays the game as well as anybody out there.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. But I mean, I know we're going to talk about it more later.
Yeah,
we keep
exactly.
kind of coming back around to it.
Well, here's another thing, just a little tidbit. For some reason, in the past week or so, my social media feed, and I do not follow this person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm getting a lot of are these professionally produced short videos from Eric Greitens.
What?
Yeah. He's trying to rehab his image. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know. I agree.
No.
And it has nothing to do with politics. It's like veteran stuff and CEO leadership. He's trying to rehab his image. I'm like, dude, go away. You know.
Have you seen the meme of the grumpy cat?
Yes.
With the just no. That's
Yes.
me whenever his name is brought up. No.
Yeah. And the thing is that you give credit where credit's due. He governed more conservatively than any of us thought that he would, but he's a complete louse and embarrassment of a human being. And his, personal life shows what a wreck he is and why, he's just not somebody you want in leadership. Now I don't know. Last I heard, he lived in Texas anyway. It wasn't necessarily mentioning Missouri. I don't know if he's trying to do a book tour, if he's auditioning for a show on One America or
That could
Newsmax or whatever the case is. But he's clearly trying to rehab his image. And you're not going to do that in Missouri, dude.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Not-
You're going to have
not
to do it
happening
somewhere
here.
else and hope nobody Googles your. Hell, you're going to have to hope that your kids never Google your name as they get older.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is in all the years that I've done this, I've never interviewed Eric Greitens.
I'm trying to think. Did I ever? No, I don't think I did.
No. Well, because, I mean, and this goes back to when I was in like news.
Yeah.
And the thing is that whenever I'd try to book, going back to when did he run? Was it 2016? I think it was. Yeah. And so I was doing news and I was doing some opinion stuff. And I would try to book him to be a guest, or his team would pitch him. And I'm like, great, sure. Him and John Bruner and Catherine, I think we're all running. And Peter was running that year. Peter Kinder was running. And everybody was on. And then his staff, they wanted all questions submitted in advance, and they made it clear that they would approve which questions could be asked and not. I don't do that.
No,
that's a big no for me.
Mm-mm.
And I said, well, here are the topics I want to cover. We need the questions. We want to make sure this, and they wanted to completely control the interview, and I don't do that. I don't play that.
Yeah.
Even with my friends. I mean, like, we talk to Bob Onder basically once a week,
Mhm.
and we always Bob and Susie and I have this text chain, and I'll say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, or he'll text us and say, hey, what are you thinking today? I want my guests to know which topics I'm going to ask them about.
Yeah, just so they're prepared to talk about the issue.
So they're prepared. But
Right.
Bob and I have also had the conversation on air and off air where I say, you got elected. Congratulations. Hey, friend, guess what? The questions get more difficult now.
Yeah, now you're really on
Because
the hot
now
seat.
you're in Congress. And his answer to me was, good, they should. That was truly Bob's off-the-air private answer to me, as they should get harder.
Yep.
And that speaks well of Bob.
It
But yeah,
does.
with Greitens, so we could never agree on the terms, because my terms were, I ask the questions, you answer the questions, and that wasn't good enough.
No.
Yeah.
Ma'am. No. That's my answer.
Same.
No.
I agree. I endorse.
Pro-life work is expanding in the metro. We'll tell you how, where, and how you can help at 6:20.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Good news, everyone. The university is bringing me up on disciplinary charges. Wait, that's not good news at all.
On News Talk STL.
Can't you hear the alarm?
On the other hand, I have good news for you. If you are thinking it might be time for some new windows, you've heard me talk about Window World before. They're one of only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, and they're ranked number 1 in the country for number of windows sold by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They've been doing this for over 20 years, helping to improve the look and energy efficiency of more than 80,000 homes right here in St. Louis. And the St. Louis location has been owned, operated, and managed by born and raised St. Louisans for more than 23 years. So if you've been thinking about new windows, you can call today for a free home estimate at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. What I like about Window World is the product itself. Their windows are durable, they're secure, they're energy efficient, and they're built with double-strength glass that you don't typically see in replacement windows. And you're covered with a lifetime warranty, which includes parts, glass, breakage, and labor. That's a big deal. They don't just do windows either. Window World can also help with siding and doors, basically everything on your exterior except a roof or garage door. And here's something a lot of companies don't offer. Their customer service team is available 7 days a week. That means including weekends. And it shows. Over half of their appointments come from repeat customers or referrals, which tells you a lot about their commitment to customer service. They're also big in the community. They've raised over $4 million over the years for charities like Action for Autism and St. Jude. And they're the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Right now, they're offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you've been putting this off, now is a great time to act. Call Window World at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's CorelRoofingCo.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Allison's clearly had her Kofifi today on Rumble.
Nice.
She goes, "Oh, I will miss watching Al Green." See, there is a comedic element to some. I mean, if you're going to have left-wing Democrats from deep blue areas, at least get the ones who are funny to watch and make us feel better about ourselves just by comparison.
There is the entertainment value.
Yeah. And then she goes on to say, the people of Texas spoke. The people of Texas sure voted character out when they voted Al Green out.
It's true.
Yeah. No, I think so. Absolutely.
Well, that's also the benefit of redistricting.
Yeah.
Because it was basically him versus Christian Menifee, both of whom were incumbents.
Right.
Christian's younger.
Yeah.
And maybe not as crazy.
Yep. I had a little tragedy this morning.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Reach here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always had my Reach coffee mug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped it.
Oh.
So, Levi, if you're listening, I need another Reach coffee mug.
Wrapped in bubble wrap.
Yep. So, I've got the coffee mug today that Billy Crow gave me. Because, his wife works for court-appointed special advocates for kids, so CASA. So, I've got the CASA coffee mug today. So, but I will be going back to the Reach mug. I'm pretty sure they'll give me one. So anyway, all right. We're going to know tomorrow, by the way, if the recall effort in Festus is approved for the ballot. Okay, so I want to get into that a little bit more. I saw some of the video from some of the local TV stations covered last night's Festus City Council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, boy, it was Rowdy.
Spicy?
It was rowdy.
Spicy.
That place is full. You know, I've been on a board of aldermen before, and you know what happens most of the time in small communities?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in a board of aldermen of a town, we were only 25,000 people. If you had 3 people show up, you're like, oh, what's going on?
Right.
Somebody's mad about something.
Yep.
I think we never had a full house the whole time I was on, and there was one time we had like 30 people show up for something, and that was like a one situation thing we had to deal with, but they were packed in Festus.
Yeah.
So a few minutes here, let's get into that because
Okay.
tomorrow we're going to know where things stand officially, and then we're going to get lawsuits on it. I'm
Yeah. There's some deeper angles on that issue too.
Yep. So we'll do that here in just a minute or so. 6:24 right now. I got a note. Well, okay. So I'm going to admit, I actually knew this was coming. Levi told me a little bit ago, but they had made the announcement last night. So I can tell you now, Reach is expanding. Again, they're going to open up a 3rd location.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is going to be in the city in Dutchtown.
Okay.
So they already have the mobile unit
Mm-hmm.
downtown, basically trying to compete with Planned Parenthood, essentially, which thank God that's there. They took that old mobile unit, which is literally a clinic on wheels,
Yep.
an actual medical clinic on wheels. It's one of the most advanced things I've ever seen. And that's what Thrive used to have. Well, since kind of the implosion of Thrive, Reach acquired that vehicle so they can still use that, which is really, really good. But a donor, and I don't know who it is, a donor has donated space in Dutchtown.
Okay.
For Reach.
That's great.
Yeah, it really is. So they are going to be setting up a 3rd location. I mean, they set up, I have been to the North County, the Bridgeton location. I haven't been to the St. Peter's one. And they're expanding the Bridgeton one as well. There is so much demand there that they are meeting so many needs that they can barely keep up.
Wow.
So there's clearly a need in the city. I mean, you're talking about a city that has tried to set aside taxpayer funds to pay for women to go out of state to have abortions.
Yeah.
Now, I think that all fell apart recently, but they tried. I mean, that's the thinking in the city. So Reach, which, by the way, does not do politics. So I don't know the exact location because they're not open. Right now, they're going to be doing the build out and the cleaning up and all that kind of stuff. So they're asking for a couple things, an outreachforlife.org, I think it is, that you can make contact with them.
Okay.
So yeah, if they need donations, without a doubt.
Sure.
You know, could it $25, $2,500, whatever it is, sure. But here's what they really are going to need over the next few weeks, maybe a couple of months or so, is they need volunteers to do, for instance, like kind of that basic construction stuff. You don't have to be super high skilled, construction. They need people who can come in and do painting.
Okay.
People who could do the cleaning and hauling off of stuff. Basically, who can come in and if you had a friend that said, I just bought a new house, can you help me make it ready to move into? That's what they need.
Gotcha.
So this is the thing that your church group could do very easily. Without spending a penny.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stuff that, like, for instance, your kids, Boy Scout troop or whatever, because this isn't political.
Right.
This is the stuff that your central committee, your township committee, whatever, in any of those things could do. So I would encourage everybody to get involved and look at Outreach for Life. It's .org, right? I think it's .org.
I think so, yeah.
Outreach, but
That
just
sounds
look
right.
up Reach Reproductive Health. You'll find them. And then just say, hey, we hear this. We can come in and haul off debris, or we can come in and do a painting party for you. And so just get in touch, and Michaela will get back in touch and plan that out.
It's a great way to help out.
Yeah, but that's a 3rd location, and they started a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that sounds
Because
right.
there's such a massive need, and they're just really good at what they do. And there are other, really good pregnancy resource centers. They just happen to have an opportunity to go into a place that's not getting served.
Right.
And so they will be soon.
Well,
So
help them out if you can.
Congratulations for them.
Yes.
And I need another coffee mug.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, just saying. I'm not hinting. I'm just saying. I'm like, give me a coffee mug. All right. Okay, so let's talk about this thing at Festus again.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of an update on it. I was watching the TV coverage. Holy crap, people are fired up. Oh my gosh. And that city council meeting was packed last night. People
Right.
like chanting, and the mayor and the council members who are kind of the targets now are basically kind of saying, yeah, this is AstroTurf stuff. This is, we don't think the whole city's really, well, I don't think it's AstroTurf. I think there are enough people that angry about it. Now, you can agree or disagree with them, but it's not AstroTurf stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's fair and probably wise to question what generated that.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like originally.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because a lot of people are getting, even if you are not a data, you're not on board with the data centers. Jerome.
Absolutely not.
So here's the thing. You can come to that conclusion after doing your reading and your work, but I'm also going to say there's a lot of people who've come to that conclusion just by jumping onto the fear-mongering part of things.
That seems to be where a lot
Yeah.
of the energy is.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to delve into it, but there at least seems to be some rumblings that some of the motivation for that opposition is not coming from friends. Let's just say that.
Right. Yeah. So that's that. Some of that was sort of called out, and people were fighting back against that. And it was pretty raucous in there. I mean, it wasn't out of control, but people were pretty fired up. So where we're at is tomorrow is the deadline for the county clerk to either verify the recall petitions or reject them for whatever reason.
Right.
By all accounts, they have enough signatures. Even the county clerk was like, yeah, this looks pretty clear they've got it. So then it comes down to, were all the P's and Q's taken care of to the point where
Right.
it's valid and legal? Now, if you're the county clerk, I would hate to be in Clerk Goff's position right
Yeah,
now.
it's
I
a little
would
awkward.
I would not want to be there because
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
she doesn't have anything to do with it. Her job is to look and say, was it done properly
Right.
or not? Voters have your say. So I feel bad for her. I really do. Don't be mad at her regardless of what she does, okay? She's just doing her job. If I were her and the signatures were there, probably the best, smartest thing to do, verify it and then let the courts deal with it.
Yes.
Because the courts are going to deal with it. That's the next step. Yeah. We'll see where it goes. But tomorrow we'll have that announcement probably in the midday, I would suspect.
Now, it's going to feel very weird to say this, but do you guys actually remember what day it is?
No.
I know what day it is.
What day is that?
Bump day!
I can't do it. My brain's not there
It's
yet.
already.
I know.
The quickest feeling bump day of the week. Which means that I'm going to ask all of you for your favorite 80s bump music tunes. This request came from an email as well. And I thought it was pretty interesting. It is songs that when they came on MTV, you were waiting on to see on MTV for the music video.
Oh, okay. Do you know what that means? Because I felt that. When you just said that, I felt that.
So,
Susie, you remember?
Not right now.
It's like when MTV first came on the air.
Yeah.
Or on the cable. It's like, oh, come on, I want to see that. I want to see that. Come on, what's that?
Yes.
Oh, I like that song. But what's the next? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So the MTV hits, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah,
What are
the
your
MTV
favorite MTV hits?
Gotcha.
Go ahead and send those to me at Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Afraid, a lie, a sin, it's magic, it's tragic, it's a loss, it's a win. It's dark, it's noise, it's a bitter pain. It's sad, it happened, and it's a shame.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis Metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday for the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday. Partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at Serenity Wealth Now.
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Dozens of out-of-state law firms are crashing into St. Louis trying to get your business. My advice, rely on a hometown firm. Under Law has been here for years. Their lawyers raising their families right alongside yours. And when you're injured by someone's careless actions, you are entitled to full compensation. You want lawyers who will not bend to big insurance, but will stand defiantly protecting you. Under Law, O-N-D-E-R, underlaw.com. Under wins.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
everywhere.
Anywhere.
Hey, it's Vic and Ken. We're on every Monday through Friday on News Talk STL. Kenny, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, you got to be some kind of weirdo to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do radio.
You do, believe me.
And that weirdo is Mike Ferguson in the morning show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh.
All right, now just in case you were wondering who's still in charge of the GOP, in case anybody like Megyn Kelly had any questions about it, I think we got the answer last night.
I think it's pretty clear.
I think it's very clear at this point. All right, coming up on 6:35 here on this Wednesday.
My brain is not caught up
You're
yet.
not, yeah, the same.
No.
Now,
I need lots of caffeine, I guess.
on the pro side of this, there's no con to this, but the pro side of this is that I could get used to these 4-day weeks.
Sure.
I could get used to the 4-day work week.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely good.
It's got the Mike stamp of approval, and we all know how valuable that is.
I've got your back. I would join in.
That's right.
What are you, becoming a Frenchman now?
Oh, man. All right. So, as always, you should get your balanced diet of news, right? You should. And that's where RedState.com comes in. So, Susie, where should we start today?
This is the Red State Rundown.
Well, you know, we're covering all like the hot news, the election news, the results of Texas, that sort of thing. So we got you covered there. But I also like to highlight some of the kind of like off the beaten path stories that we cover because Red State is kind of a very versattle site. So
you
for
are
instance,
a cornucopia of news.
We are all those things. So for instance, one of our regular contributors, Buzz Patterson, who actually used to carry the nuclear football for Bill Clinton, he's got a VIP article up talking about his childhood in Oslo. His dad was basically a diplomat kind of sort of thing. So he spent several years as a kid in Oslo. So this is just kind of a cool look at what it was like to be kind of a kid growing up in Norway and the differences there and what he has here. So I encourage you to check that out. Also, he's got some a great series of, he calls them Buzz's bedtime stories, and it's all about his experience in the Air Force and working in the Clinton administration, that sort of thing. Very interesting. Terry Christoph has Virginia's rebellion has officially begun. We're seeing more and more sheriffs saying, you know what, they're not on board with enforcing that state's new anti-2A laws. So we're seeing a building resistance to Abigail Spanberger in just the early days of her administration, and you'll love to see it.
This is like record-breaking time for voter regret.
Yeah, big time.
Buyer's remorse.
Big time, big time. Also wanted to point out this article from Brad Slager. It's titled, Expert News Outlets Are Shamed and Independent Journals Vindicated as Charges Filed in Minnesota Fraud Cases. He's highlighting the fact that when all of the fraud stuff really started swirling, the mainstream media went after, for instance, Nick Shirley and the other independent journalists that were actually trying to cover it and bring it to light, and they went to try to discredit them instead of digging into the massive amounts of fraud. And now we're seeing more and more indictments handed down, and it's vindicating the independent journalists. So you want to go check that out.
Yep.
I think it was California that actually tried passing the Anti-Nick Shirley Act.
Yeah, basically. Well, it wasn't titled that,
Right.
but that's what they nicknamed it because that was the import of it.
So you're not allowed as an independent citizen to go and try to investigate and find fraud that the government's willfully neglecting to find themselves.
Yeah. It didn't. So I don't think that actually ended up passing, but there definitely was that push, particularly in California.
Yeah. Well, what's one of those old sayings? It's kind of cliche, but if you want to find out who the dictator is, find out who you're not allowed to criticize.
Yes.
or something along those lines.
To find out who controls you, find out who you can't criticize.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, 6:38 right now here. Okay. So Ken Paxton just thumps Senator Cornyn in Texas, as in there's winning, and then there's handily winning, and then there's what happened in Texas.
Curb stomp, I think is what I saw somebody say. Not figuratively.
Right. That's what surprised me. I wouldn't have been surprised, with Ken Paxton winning. I thought he had the momentum without a doubt. There's obviously a lot of irritation with John Cornyn, despite the fact that he has been voting with the party and the administration for all of this 99 point whatever %, which is true when he made that claim recently. But clearly, there's been a shift in the sentiment of the base.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely is somebody that's viewed as establishment, and we're seeing Mitch McConnell wander off the stage, and Bill Cassidy got shown the door last week, and I think we're kind of seeing a push to it's now or never. If you want to kind of refresh things and bring in less establishment-y people, now is the time to do it. So we're seeing that sentiment, and it's what's motivating people to the polls.
And that's what's interesting is that race, if you live in Texas, that race is about Texas. The rest of the country is engaged in that and say this isn't just about Texas. This is about that bigger sort of picture. And especially as you go into a midterm, you've got traditionally the administration transitions into a lame duck, and the Trump administration is fighting tooth and nail to not be a lame duck at all.
Yeah.
And if you had any question who owns the GOP, I mean, and almost completely heavy-handed owns the GOP, for good or for ill, Trump owns the GOP. He gives the instructions from the top down. I will tell you what to do, and you will do it. And that's essentially what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I think his philosophy is if I'm the face of the party, I might as well lead the party. So here I am.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do. It is interesting because in the primary, the original primary in March, it was basically a three-way race. There was a couple other candidates too, but it was Cornyn, Paxton, and Wesley Hunt.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Wesley.
Yeah,
Hunt.
and so Cornyn and Paxton each got like in the low 40s %. So they came really close to one another, and then Hunt had like 13.5%. So that's that's what necessitated the runoff. So given that, I think my sense was, okay, we're probably going to see, like a 52-48 split. I wasn't even 100% sure it would go for Paxton, but that seemed to be where the momentum was. Right. But I also recognize that you have to be kind of wary of like what bubbles you're in. No, I mean
nobody. I don't know if anybody saw.
No,
this.
It's like all of Wesley Hunt's voters and then some shifted to Paxton, and so then because Cornyn actually did have more votes than Paxton in the primary, so since then that's a massive shift.
So there was the vote for Cornyn, and then there were votes against Cornyn.
Yes,
and at this point, then people had to decide who are you for.
Yeah,
but then there's still the who are you against.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to Texas voters that are like, yeah, John Cornyn.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like ever. Not just this race. I have seen many that are fired up about Paxton, even recognizing that he does have some baggage. So
Paxton's got some baggage.
Yeah, big time. So I think people were like, well, yep, you know what? But he's a scrapper, and we want somebody with energy. We want somebody who's going to be in there fighting. Now, it'll be interesting to see the dynamic between him and Ted Cruz.
Right.
Because they'll be the two senators now.
Yeah, without a doubt.
7 months from now. I'm assuming that he gets past Tallarico. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't look past November. I should not take it for granted. I'm just saying I think he's got a chance.
Yeah, that's okay. So the Tallarico thing, and I wasn't even planning on that, but since you brought that up, I think I understand that the conservative sites that I follow, and they're going to pick out the worst of Tallarico. The best of Tallarico is hideous.
Yeah.
This is one of the things, and like later on today, we'll talk about the Democrats basically put out a postmortem of 2024. It's like, okay, let's look at what went right and what went wrong, et cetera, from their perspective. And the fact that they're still nominating people like Tallarico shows they're not learning their lesson. And
they're refusing delivery on it, as the saying goes.
I mean, this guy, listen, there are blue areas of Texas without a doubt.
Yeah.
But overall, Texas is a don't mess with me red state.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Ann Richards was elected statewide there, but Ann Richards couldn't get past a Democratic primary today.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pretty far left.
Yeah.
But this Tallarico dude, Democrats, is this who your face of the next generation is?
Think about it. Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
James Tallarico. Or Jasmine Crockett was
Jasmine
the other
Crockett,
option.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, but he wasn't from Texas. I was thinking
Right.
about Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
so the people that they've thrown up as Senate candidates
yeah,
don't really. Colin Allred, was he a Senate candidate or was he just a House rep?
I think, yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, like for as much as they keep talking about Texas turning purple and wanting to turn it blue, and yes, there definitely are pockets of significant blue in
Like
Texas.
Austin,
is a hotbed of that. But it's like, okay, but
this is what you
can anyone resurrect Lyndon Johnson for you? Perhaps I don't know.
Tallarico, basically, you've got a 12-year-old radical.
Yeah, I mean, he looks a little bit like Alfred E. Newman. He's kind of got that going on. He does kind of have the Pete Buttigieg energy,
right?
With the little Christian rapping that's faux Christian rapping.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry, I'm not going to what his actual independent faith is. I'm saying what he is preaching is not biblical.
Oh, not even close. Well, and that's part of what we'll talk about at I think it's 7:05. I've got it in there where the Lion they published an article saying the one thing that the left and the Democrats completely didn't factor into, not just during the campaign, but in their postmortem, is they didn't even reference people of faith.
No.
Not even just Christians, but particularly Christians. With Tallarico, he keeps trying to claim a brand of Christianity.
Yeah.
And just objectively looking is like, how do you associate your viewpoint with the brand of Christianity? Now, I'm one of those, and I'm not as religious as I used to be. I'll just say that, much to my mom's chagrin here. But I don't see how it's possible to be both a far leftist, Democrat or not, how to be a far leftist and be a Christian. I don't know how you can bridge those two. I'm not talking about somebody who's a union Democrat. I'm not talking about the blue collar. I'm talking about the Tallaricos, the Crockett's, the AOCs, the people. I don't know how you bridge that gap, not just from a theological, but from a philosophical. I just don't understand how you do that. I don't understand how anybody can make a case that the two are compatible.
Well, I think you gloss over a lot when you do. Yeah. I was raised in a very, very liberal Christian community, and very much, I don't know that they would be Tallarico left, but there's very much in the church that I was raised in.
Well, when you say liberal Christian, give me an example of what like an Orthodox or fundamentalist church would go, that's not right.
Very, very vociferous support for the LGBTQ community.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a very loving environment. Like I love the church that I grew up in. I love the community.
This wasn't a love the sin or hate the sin. This is a good thing. Fly the rainbow flag.
It was very much kind of a follow on from the '60s sentiment of the very liberal activist civil rights movement. But the carry over from that, and that is infused in the church that I grew up in. And it's not the only denomination. It was United Church of Christ. It's not the only denomination like that. But there are definitely denominations that are on the far left of the political spectrum that still do, they consider themselves Christians. They teach Christianity.
Do they?
Yes. I'm not saying they get it right. I'm saying that it is.
It's their brand. I understand that, but are they actually?
I mean, that's where I learned all about the Bible. I can tell you that. Like, I could kick some butt in Bible baseball, just so you know. And that was so. What I'm saying is, that's what it's based in. Yeah. You can certainly question whether or not it's theologically sound. 100%. I'm not saying that.
Oh, we'll sit a Baptist and a Presbyterian down, and they'll fight all day.
Yeah, exactly. That, but, So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it's steeped in what we consider Christianity. It's just missing the mark, and it's politicized on the left. So that's what I'm trying to explain.
How long ago was that you grew up in that?
Well, I'm 57, so
right. No, I know, but
I grew up in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't belonged to that. My mom still belongs to the church. It's still there. So, but I haven't gone to the church like myself for like 25 years.
Would you think that shifted at all since then?
No, it's still
I mean, like the overall sort of thing. Because, I hear what's coming like out of Tallarico, and I walked out of a church because they were just so stupid left-wing and lying about stuff. I'm like, Yeah, they weren't as like rainbow flaggy type, like a Webster Grove type of thing. But I'm like, at some point, it's like you're just co-opting a brand. That's agree or disagree with the theology. You're just co-opting a brand that you don't embrace.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it, and I'm trying to be very delicate here because there are people that I care very, very much about. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. I'm just saying that I have seen firsthand people blending leftist politics with Christianity, but missing the mark on really actually being biblically sound with that.
Yeah, well, there's some right-wing churches that get it wrong too.
There's many churches that get it wrong. So I'm just going to leave it there. There are more drones that could be flying over St. Louis soon. At 6:50, we're going to talk to you about a police wish list in the city. That's in the news dump.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. At Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, this is Vince Colonnese. I'll talk to you tonight at 8, but now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show on News Talk STL.
All right. What do the Texas primary results tell us about the direction of the GOP? We're going to come back to that time or two here today. Also, another local police department wants to put drones in the air when you call 911.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Was just waiting for
I'm on the fence.
I don't like it.
And pro-life work is expanding in St. Louis, not the politics of it, the actual heart-to-heart work. 6:52 right now. Let's go ahead and do a news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by the Nutrition Stop. The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, let's start with what's going on in Texas. That seems to be kind of the talk of the country right now. It looks like, not looks like, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is most likely going to be the next U.S. Senator from Texas. He won the GOP primary over incumbent Senator John Cornyn yesterday. Attorney General Paxton was thanking his supporters, particularly President Trump, and also went and thanked Senator Cornyn for his service that's coming to an end come January. Then let it rip against his new opponent, which would be left-wing Democrat James Tallarico, who he's going to face off with in November.
James Tallarico is a threat to everything we hold dear in this state and in this country.
So Paxton won over 60% of the vote. It's kind of funny because Cornyn and Paxton were like the whole dance with politics. The day of the election, you're at each other's throat the night of the election. We're actually really good friends, and I really appreciate him.
Yeah. We can set down the swords now.
Yeah. You did the, I have something.
I know. Well, I was kind of laughing, or not laughing. I was finding it interesting the different percentages in the Texas races because you had, Paxton almost lapped Cornyn. It's 63.8% plus to 36.2%. So he almost doubled him, right? You had similar in Christian Menifee knocking out Al Green, 69.6% to 30.5%. That's a significant route.
Mm-hmm.
And then the crazy lady, the one that wanted to put all the Zionists in camps.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes. So she lost. She did lose, but she only lost by a smaller margin, 63% to 37%. So she
clearly the Jews did it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. It is just I find it interesting the different breakdown there.
All right, federal and local law enforcement announced the results of a month-long crackdown on violent crime here in the region. Operation Viper ran from April 20th through May 1st. 91 arrests were made, including several fugitives wanted for violent crimes. Deputy Attorney General Andrew Bailey, I've heard that name before.
I have.
Yeah, he was in town to discuss the results of the operation.
Every one of these individuals is now being held accountable for violating the law and threatening the safety of the people of St. Louis.
36 weapons, many of them fully automatic, were confiscated, and police also seized large amounts of fentanyl, meth, and cocaine. So we're not talking doobies on the street corner here.
Can't be doing that.
No, you cannot be doing that. All right. And speaking of law enforcement here, St. Louis police want to add drones to their first response capabilities, basically doing something similar to what St. Charles is doing.
Mm-hmm.
KMOV's Corey Stark has the details and has some comments from Police Chief Robert Tracy.
If passed, 6 drones would take to the sky over the city of St. Louis. St. Charles County Police just started using a similar program. City police say drones can get on scene within 70 seconds.
If you need someone that needs medical assistance, you might have a shooting victim there. You can tell them exactly where that person is. If there's someone leaving the scene that's a suspect, they can approach. Sometimes someone can go to the scene. Another officer can go to where the suspect has fled to. There's so many things that this can do.
So the Board of Police Commissioners would have to approve the idea. They are expected to at least consider it and talk about it at this morning's meeting.
I mean, if you're talking about responding as opposed to, proactively surveilling and spying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can draw the line. Then I think there's some merit to that.
You want in on this?
How much time do I have?
About 15 seconds.
I don't like it.
Okay, there you go. All right, the pro-life work of REACH is growing again. The Pregnancy Resource Center is opening another location, this time in Dutchtown. This is going to be their third location. CEO Levi Hart says a donor has provided the space needed to launch this location. They are now in the build-out part of the process. They're looking for volunteers to help paint and assemble and some very basic construction and a variety of other needs as well. And, of course, they are appealing for donations to provide those medical and counseling services that REACH locations provide everywhere. This, again, will be their third. You could contact REACH at outreachforlife.org. They don't have anything up of this Dutchtown location that was just announced yesterday, but you can get in touch with them from there to say, hey, we can come out and paint or, haul off the debris or whatever the case is. So outreachforlife.org there. Let's see here. Law enforcement was busy around Missouri during the Memorial Day weekend. Between last Friday and this past Monday, Highway Patrol says they responded to 234 vehicle crashes. 8 people died on Missouri's highways. 107 DUI arrests were made on the roads.
Wow.
6 injuries from boat crashes.
What?
Yeah, those happened over the weekend. There were 4 boat accidents in all, 7 arrests for boating while intoxicated. One of the dumbest things I can think of.
Yeah, don't do that.
But there were no fatalities in the water, at least. Cardinals lose 2-1. They lose 6-0. They lost 2 games now to the Brewers.
Final game of that series starts this afternoon at 12:40.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu Beef French Dip. I love Capriati's, and you will too. Visit Capriati's now at 2 locations, on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
Something big is happening in St. Louis County, and you're invited.
Join us for the grand reopening of the St. Louis County Central Committee's brand new headquarters, and it's an open house you don't want to miss.
Stop by Wednesday, June 3rd at 794 Gravois Bluffs for light appetizers, beverage, and a chance to meet your Central Committee members. Plus, Chris and I will be there live.
Join Tim and me and tour the new headquarters. That's Wednesday, June 3rd, 794 Gravois Bluffs.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payments interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the NewsTalk STL app.
Anywhere.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is NewsTalk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rasmussen. The most powerful force in politics, that's how Ken Paxton describes President Trump's endorsement. It helped propel Paxton to victory over veteran U.S. Senator John Cornyn in the GOP primary runoff in Texas. Khalees Perry cast her ballot for Paxton.
I was already going to vote for Ken Paxton, but yeah, I'm a Trump fan, MAGA all the way, so yeah, that helped push him, I think, a little bit over Cornyn, and I'm glad Trump did. Even if Trump hadn't have endorsed Ken Paxton, I still would have voted for Ken Paxton.
Cornyn says he will back Paxton.
I've always supported the Republican ticket, and I intend to do so again in this general election. I've said throughout this race that I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must respect it.
Paxton faces Democrat James Tallarico in November. Search goes on for 9 people missing after a chemical tank ruptured at a paper mill and pulp plant in Longview, Washington. 1 person killed, more than a half dozen others injured. All of the evacuees now back home in Garden Grove, Southern California. They were chased from their homes when a chemical tank ruptured at a plant there. The stuff of science fiction soon to become science fact. NASA ordering landers, rovers, and drones for a planned sprawling base on the moon.
With Moonbase, Artemis astronauts will stay longer, explore farther, and conduct the kinds of science that advances exploration itself, understanding how humans operate off-world, how we build infrastructure, and how we prepare for Mars.
NASA's Lori Glaze plans for the moon base advance less than 2 months after Artemis 2's record-breaking lunar fly-around. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures 41 points higher. The NASDAQ futures are up 206 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-573-4400. That's 800-573-4400. Again, that's 800-573-4400.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis Metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday for the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday, partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Democracy is loud, and on Tuesday, June 2nd, you can be right in the middle of it. News Talk STL is bringing the St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate to Lindenwood University in St. Charles at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. No reservations, no tickets, just show up. Can't make it in person? Catch every word live on News Talk STL from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate on June 2nd. Brought to you by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, Mid-Rivers News Magazine, Lewis & Clark's Pachyderms Club, and the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University. This spring into savings with Johnson Heating and Cooling. Rebates up to $600 off a complete HVAC system. And here's the deal. Purchase a complete system and get a free humidifier. Plus, financing available up to 0% for 60 months. Don't miss out. These offers expire June 30th. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority. Mike Ferguson.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Susie Moore.
They should not be part of polite society.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This didn't get as much attention as it may have in other times of the year, but Democrats released a report late last week trying to explain why they got beat so bad in 2024. Now, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that they released it right before the holiday weekend when everybody checked out.
Well, keep in mind, they've been holding it back. They did it, and then they said they weren't going to release it.
Right. And by the way, this is something that basically major parties do after every single election, win, lose, or otherwise.
Right.
You know, they look at and they go in and say what happened, and that's how they prepare for the next round of elections.
What went wrong, what went right, that sort of thing.
And I was looking over some of the stories on this. I think you all have written on this.
We have.
Yeah, extensively here. And it's interesting because the Lion has this story that they posted. Now, obviously, the Lion's going to look at this from a more Christian conservative type of perspective. But what they wrote tracks with other coverage I've seen of this. Democrats kind of post-mortem, which they released, Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening, something like that, made no mention of Christian voters in particular.
Right.
None.
When
you're talking about the 2024 elections. This was a 192-page, so this was a book that was published, looked at the demographics, mentioning a lot of the key factors. For instance, they admitted, Joe Biden being old and, basically pseudo-incapacitated, that may have made a difference. They looked at various issues around the country, around the world. But religious affiliation is something that they skipped over. Some kind of religious liberty groups told the Lion in the reporting, and Aubrey Streb did the story, saying that the Democratic Party's hostility towards traditional Christian values was a factor as well. And I don't know how you could argue against that.
I really don't know. And I always
Yeah.
thought it was such a strange thing because Biden was always so, I'm a devout Catholic, I'm a devout Catholic, and then doing the exact opposite policy-wise. And not only just like diverging from church teachings, for instance, on the abortion issue and LGBTQ issue, on all those things, but actively prosecuting people who were like faith-based objectors, going after Catholics who are pro-life. I mean, like they actively went after, they weaponized the Justice Department after that.
Yeah, that weaponization was the word I was going.
Yeah.
They went after people, and if they could argue it wasn't because of their religious beliefs, but boy, that correlation was there.
Sure seemed to be.
And here's the thing: is not like Donald Trump is the most Christian guy ever. He's not.
No.
There's no evidence that there's any faith in his life. But they didn't have to compete for it. The Democrats went, we don't want you. And then you had the Republicans and Trump going, come on in.
Well, I was going to say, I would say that the evidence of faith in his life is the fact that he does surround himself with faith-based individuals. He elevates some of the faith-based, and he has allied himself with people in the faith movement. So not that I'm not trying to talk about his faith. I'm talking about he has wisely, from a political standpoint, surrounded himself with people who
He's
are
built a
faith-based.
coalition.
He has built a coalition. So that actually does make it welcoming to people of faith.
And the Democrats, to the point of what they're apparently not wanting to look at. So it sounds like, and I didn't sit there and read 192 pages of this. I will admit,
No.
I read the reports of a whole bunch of people who did, and what they consistently basically came to was we have to admit the most obvious things, some of the most obvious things. Kamala Harris, they didn't even admit she was a terrible candidate. They wanted to throw Joe Biden under the bus, but she was a terrible candidate. I think any Republican would have won that race. Now, I don't know they would have won it with the numbers and the margins that Trump did, but any Republican would have won that presidential race. Any top-tier Republican would have won that. I don't think Kamala Harris could have beaten any of them. But to completely leave out the gap and the hostility that was at least perceived, which I think is true, but they should have at least looked at this as, boy, people of faith really bailed on us this time. Maybe we should rethink how we message or what we think.
Well, think about this too, though. I mean, this there's an analogy here, or a comparison at least to make, because they know they lost it with men too.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like they were trying to pursue the male demographic, and it was like, "Hello, fellows," I mean, it was really awkward. Their attempts to connect with men. It's like, do you not even know? You don't know what a woman is. You don't know what a man is.
Yeah.
You've lost your way.
Well,
so I think they've just lost the ability to actually connect to genuine, authentic people who aren't like part of the Borg.
Well, because remember, they're targeting the young men. They went and hired the bisexual
Olivia Giudiana.
Quote unquote body positive left wing. I mean, I say by quote unquote body positive because she weighs like 400 pounds.
Very heavy.
And so, but that was like part of her shtick. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this is who's going to relate to the men. And we're all going, huh? What? Huh?
No.
I even know some Democrats are like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're so consumed by their ideology that they've lost sight of what like normal, everyday people like genuinely are. And I mean, we joke about not being able to define what a woman is because Ketanji Brown Jackson handed that to us on a silver platter.
Goodness, yeah.
But it there's truth to it. Like they've forgotten, and it's like they're so dug in on like opposing traditional gender roles and all that sort of thing that they've forgotten who people are at their centers and what drives them, and now they don't know how to connect.
Well, and what does it tell you that after they just got slapped like crazy by the voters across the country, that their reaction is let's tailor make a report and a postmortem and a report on it, and then leave out some of the key variables. Basically, let's admit to some of the most obvious things and then not take our medicine on why people don't like us.
Well, part of the problem here too was they delegated the responsibility for this report to somebody who I don't think was really that enthused about doing it and kind of did a slapdash job of it to begin with, which is why Ken Martin said, you know what, we're not going to release this. We're just going to keep it internally for us. And then that kind of did the Streisand effect because, like, the more they were like, no, we're not going to, the more people were like, well, let us see it. What does it say? What's in there? And so then they were kind of forced to release it. So you had a bad performance and then you had it analyzed in a bad way and no lessons learned.
So what's the point of doing something like this if it's not to connect? I mean,
check a box.
Yeah, they've forgotten.
Tell the donors you did it.
Yeah, they've forgotten who works for whom or who's supposed to work for whom.
Well, that defines their relationship with governance and politics.
This isn't, by the way, that new. There are always people who lose and like, can you believe how wrong these voters got it? How dare they? Years ago, there was a Democrat who ran for attorney general here in Missouri, and she lost. And she called me and said, let's go out to lunch afterwards. And so we went out to lunch. And I'm not going to go into the details of the conversation, but this was right after the election. She was hurting. She was smarting pretty bad, from this.
Sure.
And I was stunned at the conversation where she rattled off all the things voters got wrong and how she was angry at the voters. And I'm like, you just got your can handed to you, and you're mad at the voters. Right. And I mean, it was just two people having a conversation over lunch. But I was just kind of amazed. I mean, I've won some races, I've lost some races, and in the time that I've lost, I'm like, some stuff I didn't do well enough.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? Or it was just an unwinnable race. It just happens.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that whole mentality, I think, explains in part the rise of Donald Trump. Because that attitude, which a lot of that came from Obama and the Obama administration was, it was very like condescending to voters. Yep. Like, you don't really know what's good for you, and we do. And that makes people resentful. People don't like that.
Well, the interesting thing, when I look back on the way that Kamala's the Democrats in general, but specifically with Kamala's campaign, and I know people make the excuse that she had like 100 days or something like that to get her act together, but it's just how snarky it is. And I think for some reason, people that are more left aligned, that snarkiness, they enjoy that, and they think it's some kind of cutesy little thing, and whatever, but that does not work on the general public if you have a mature adult mindset.
Well, especially if you're bad at it. I mean, Trump's plenty snarky. Eric Schmidt's plenty snarky. I mean, there's all kinds of... Ted Cruz is plenty snarky, but they know how to do it.
But there's just a way that people on the left do it, and I see it with guys as well. It's that idea of like intentionally misunderstanding something so that way you cannot have to disarm your opponent from being able to make any points of something.
Jerome, I have one word for you.
Oh?
Authenticity. Okay, Trump is authentically bristly, like prickly. I mean, he's authentically snarly. Not all the time, right? But okay. They're trying to put on an act. They're trying to show you they've got that edge. They're trying to pretend that that's what they are, just like they're trying to pretend to connect with men, and that's why they're not getting it right, because they're not authentically doing it.
So it's quite literally that, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, basically.
Which is exactly what my point was.
Oh, no.
And like, for instance, you look at, for instance, the podcast, social media sphere. There's one Joe Rogan, and then there's a million Joe Rogan wannabes.
Yes.
There's one Jordan Peterson, and then there's a million Jordan Peterson wannabes.
There was one Rush Limbaugh.
There was one Rush Limbaugh, and there will never be another Rush Limbaugh.
No, there will not.
And everybody should stop trying.
Yeah. Just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Take the likes, take the dislikes, take the agreements, the disagreements. You can still like people and disagree with them.
Yeah.
That's loud. That's legal. You can do that.
Absolutely.
You can do that. But yeah, this is going out of their way to make sure that they're not competing. Hey, I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong.
That's kind of fun to watch.
I would love to put my energy in trying to get conservatism back up and running, on the right, and fight back for that space. But at this point, the DNC is essentially going, we're not going to lead until you comply with us. So we'll punish you by losing.
Well, keep on keeping on, folks.
You told us.
You know what other advice I have for folks? It is that they should check out the upcoming live debate at St. Charles County for the St. Charles County Executive Primary. That's coming up next Tuesday, June 2nd News Talk STL is going to be hosting a live debate at Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts at 2300 West Clay Street. The debate will also be broadcast live on News Talk STL from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It will, of course, feature the candidates Bill Eigel, Jason Law, Steve Ellman, and a panel steeped in St. Charles details asking questions.
That's right.
We want you to be there, so come show up.
And also, you can send us suggestions for your questions now.
Oh, that's true.
Email me.
Email Mike.
Yeah, Mike at newstalkstl.com saying, hey, I would love to hear this question of the candidates. So start sending them in now, because we're the panelists. We're talking about what we're going to be asking now. Send me. I would love to get every question from the audience.
Perfect.
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your kissing hour. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Columbo and Company.
All the reaction from Trump's cabinet meeting at Camp David and a preview of the upcoming August primary election Wednesday with Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd. Plus, we'll open Close's cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school, and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
Oh, she's
rocking out on this one.
Slim dancing.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I was saying Susie dance scale, maybe 6,
I just
7.
gotta wake up. Trying.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, good news. Battlehawks have a big game this weekend.
Woohoo.
Bad news. It's downtown at night on a Friday night.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to mention the Battlehawks thing here, but let's talk a little bit about there's what's clearly improving when it comes to crime and public safety in the city.
Yeah.
But they ain't there yet.
No.
By a long shot. By a long shot. All right, 7:22 right now. Quick note, I wanted to just mention this game. I mentioned it in the news dump. Our friends at Reach Reproductive Health, and we talk a lot about Reach just because, they do so much great work. There are all sorts of great pregnancy resource centers around the area. So Reach is in St. Peter's, Reach is in North County. Reach, there are some areas where, Birthright does great work. Catholic Services does great work. And there's the one in, was it Granite City? And there's a lot of really good ones around the area. But we happen to work a lot with Reach. They are opening a third location. They announced this yesterday. They put their email out. Now, I actually knew about it before. Levi, their CEO, told me about it a week or two ago. A donor has given them the space to open a new medical and counseling and resource area. And I actually toured the North County one, I don't know, a week ago or so, whenever I went into lunch with Levi. And it's so impressive how holistic this is, because they do have the medical side of it. They do have the counseling side. They put so much thought into both of those. And then they also have this huge stash of resources, everything from like diapers to baby clothes to car seats. All of the stuff that somebody who's scared to death about, having an unplanned pregnancy, things that would absolutely say, we got your back.
Right.
So they're about to open up a third location. Now, the opening date is TBD because they still have to build the thing out. But a donor has given them the space to do it. So what they really need, and outreachforlife.org is the website to go to. Maybe can we post that on the social media? Put outreachforlife.org. They're looking right now for people who are willing to sign up to be volunteers to help them get up and running. So, I am obviously not skilled in construction, but I could do basic things. I could, that sort of thing. So if you just can come in and help sweep and clean out and haul off stuff from whatever's there now, great. Everybody can paint. If you can do basic renovation and construction, you know how to nail 2x4s together, whatever the case is. They need people to be able to come in and do that, obviously, to save as much money as possible, but also because many hands make light work and you can do it very quickly.
Absolutely.
Now, they're going to have to obviously, either find professional electricians and things like that to come in and do that stuff. Now, maybe there's a professional electrician who wants to volunteer their time. That's great. But this is something where your church group, your church, your kids, Boy Scout, whatever, Girl Scout, troop, they're called troops, right?
Yeah.
Or your central committee, whatever it is, your student group, this would be a great chance to contact them and saying, hey, we can come in for a day and do some stuff. What do you need? Let's put it on the calendar. So outreachforlife.org. The growth of Reach has been phenomenal in such a short time. It's amazing.
That is great.
Yeah.
And what a great way to suggest, like, this is what the help that we need, but here's a concrete way that you can actually do that help.
Right. Yeah. And obviously they need donations and stuff.
Sure.
They're going to have to buy some stuff and things, but they really, really are hoping that there will be volunteers who can come out and help them get up and running on that. And also I need another coffee mug. I dropped my Reach coffee mug earlier. I broke off the handle. Tragedy.
I don't know if you could be trusted with another
one.
I
know. So I need one of those. So.
Can they make them like out of Nerf material?
Probably. I can't drink the coffee because it's all soaked up in the mug.
Can you get Mike an unbreakable coffee mug?
I know. I've got a bad history. And, it's my fault. But, I also, what happens is I got a little bit of an issue on the left side of my body because I lost most of the sight in my left eye. And I ran into stuff. And I ran into the excuses. I ran into the door frame and I dropped it. It was in my left hand. And I'm like, well, crap.
That's probably, you need whiskers.
Yes, that's right. The long ones you put out on the out.
I'd buy a Reach little sippy cup because I've got nerve damage in my arm, and it makes it difficult to hold on.
I think we may
stuff.
have a new merch idea for you guys.
There it is. Oh man. Okay, so let me start with the Battlehawks. I was watching their game and they won, so they've secured a spot in the playoffs. If the Battlehawks win this weekend, not only are they still in the playoffs, but they would secure at least second place, which means they would be guaranteed to host one playoff game at home. So we could get another game at the Dome with home field advantage, and the winner of that obviously goes on to the championship. So that's the good news. The bad news is because this is the national TV game on Friday, it's at 7 p.m. downtown.
Okay.
It's on Fox. It's on Channel 2. And you still say, man, this is a big game. The fan base is fired up. Now, they're also competing with the Cardinals and the Cubs at the same time at Busch Stadium, so that's gonna affect them as well. But if downtown were safer and better, I would go to the game, but I'm not going downtown at night. I'm still not doing that, even though we're seeing things move in the right direction.
Yeah.
They're just not there yet.
No, but I mean, yes, it is good to see things moving in the right direction. But I mean, it's been going downhill for so long, and there's been such a hollowing out, and you've basically just sort of instilled a lack of trust in the community. Like people don't feel safe in their city,
right?
And that's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be like that, and it shouldn't be that hard to figure out what makes it not be that way.
Yeah,
right?
and the thing is, we have figured out what makes it there, and with the state retaking control of the police, that's been I don't know how anybody can argue that's been a bad thing, unless you're just so ideologically far left, pro BLM, whatever, that you just refuse. You look at any effort to make people safe as something it's not.
Well, because it's Republicans.
Yeah.
So even if it's a good thing, you can't give it credit because it's Republicans.
Yeah, even and I see the stage being set for improvements downtown if the city will get out of the way.
Yeah.
And at least I think Kara Spencer doesn't want to be in the way. Now, I think she's concerned about being tagged with something that's pro-police, so I think she's trying to do that fine line right there. But you see the stage being set for things to get better. But I'm still not going downtown at night.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that my daughter lives downtown, know, and it drives me nuts. But I would love for there to be a point in the near future where I can go, ooh, Cubs are in town to play the Cardinals. Battlehawks are playing tonight, big game. Whatever concert is going to happen, yeah, I'm there. Let's go. I'm just, which concert I decided to not go to downtown recently?
Which one?
Striper.
Wow. That's saying something. And I'm like, yeah.
But we can get there because there has been a changing of the guard, but it's going to take, I think, a lot longer than what a lot of people realize. And there's somebody out there who's going to say, okay, well, you got to lead the charge. People need to go back downtown and show them. No, I'm not encouraging people to do that at night. Listen, daytime games, no problem. I'll go to day games whenever, but I'm out of there by sunset. I mean, I just am.
I think I've gotten reconditioned because I worked downtown for so long that, I wouldn't think that much about going downtown or being downtown at night because I was there downtown at night already a lot of times because I worked late. But now, since I haven't been, it would take a lot to draw me back downtown and make me feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Can we do anything other than root for him from out here in the county or from St. Charles County? I mean, that's all we can really do.
Continue to push for policies that are going to help.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're getting that, but once the policies are there, then it just takes more time. It takes a long time to implement the change, and then it takes even longer for people to look around and go, okay, it's better.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. Nope.
Yeah, you have to experience it enough times to really feel it, but if you're already not feeling safe, why would you go somewhere that you consider dangerous to begin with? Now, despite the predictions that we would all be underwater because of climate change by now, we're still here. Are the doomsayers finally admitting they were wrong? Let's talk about that at 7:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday for the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday. Partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
Everyone deserves a safe place to call home. Cedar Oak in High Ridge is a unique ministry providing more than just shelter. They offer hope, support, and a compassionate community for individuals rebuilding their lives. Since 2023, they've helped those facing housing challenges, especially when addiction has been part of their journey. At Cedar Oak, you'll find personalized care, empowerment, and real long-term solutions. Take the next step. Visit cedaroak.org. Cedar Oak, where new beginnings take root.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
During the shooting at the Correspondents' Dinner, one reporter hiding under a table said, "I hope they kill the MFer." She was talking about Trump. Tennessee Congressman Ogles tells the story and says a woman was hoping when she quit hiding, she would stand up and see Trump dead. He did not name the reporter nor her company. You can claim the Republican just made up the story, but there are things you cannot deny. The far left has been attacking Trump verbally and literally for 11 years, 3 documented assassination attempts. Granted, this shooter didn't even get in the room, but his 1,000-word manifesto made it clear what he wanted to do. Illinois Governor Pritzker says, "Everything I've said about Trump trying to destroy our democracy has proven true." He was on CNN. No one asked, "Where's your proof?" CNN's latest documentary is being rescheduled, titled Imperial Presidency. And then how do you explain the offer of the left-wing radical who owns a brewery in Wisconsin? He is promising free beer all day long on the day Trump dies. Kill the president, get free beer.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. Let's get real. Here's the truth about eliminating Missouri's income tax.
I'm here with State Representative Bishop Davidson. And Bishop, you've heard the complaints about the proposal. Here's your colleague, Representative Ashley Awney.
Frankly, the only thing that this resolution does is increase sales taxes.
So what does this do and what does it not do if we say yes?
The first part of this constitutional amendment is a constitutional shall. It's a guarantee to the people in Missouri that if they vote for this, that their legislature will enact and shall enact legislation to eliminate income taxes using natural economic growth over time. That means when the economy grows, instead of it going back into the coffers of the state, it goes into the pockets of Missourians. The second part is a constitutional may. It allows the legislature to have a conversation around sales taxes, but only so that they can eliminate income taxes faster and reduce local tax rates like personal property tax and real property.
Get the facts at afpmissouri.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This is what's happening.
I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Wait, was Al Gore might have been wrong?
What?
What are you going to say? Greta was wrong too?
How dare you?
Or maybe they're both aliens.
Mm.
See, I'm pre-segueing things.
Yes.
I'm a trained professional.
nicely.
Do not try this at home. All right. Joined now by Ward Clark, our buddy from RedState. Boy, Ward, you're busy, man. How do you write that much? Holy crap. You are a busy guy.
Well, Mike, I have two keys. I read insanely fast. I always have since I was a little kid, and I write pretty quickly too.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, that's just I couldn't tell you how I do it. I just always have.
Okay, so let me start with the article, Big New Climate Admission, Apocalyptic Forecast Were Never True Projections. This is not a shock to those of us who have been skeptical of the climate religion for a long time. not to be confused with conservation with those of us who want to be good stewards of what we have, but the Al Gores of the world and all of the others. What is it that they are now finally admitting, and are they actually going to focus on productive things, or are they just going to try to redefine the political aspect of it?
Oh, I think the latter. What happened was there was a number of different. These got reported to the UN's IPCC, the International Panel on Climate Change. The worst case scenario they had was called RCP 8.5. That was the doomsday scenario. That was the, oh my God, we're all going to die. The oceans are going to boil and the atmosphere is going to burn off the planet, and we're and that one, now the very scientists that postulated it have kind of withdrawn it, saying no. Now, I quoted from a Vox article, and Vox being what they are, they tried to put the best spin on it they could. They said, well, we've already improved things. We've already done some work towards getting everybody on windmills and solar panels, and that's why they're removing this scenario, is because we're winning. And the reason they removed the scenario is it wasn't based on any real observations or anything. It was just based on extrapolation from some of their other scenarios. There wasn't any data behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And science, if you understand science, and I think I do, I was educated in the sciences. It's all about data.
Ward, there's also a logical hole in their argument, because for years we've been hearing, oh my gosh, if we don't move heaven and earth to make changes in how we do things, like you said, we're all going to die. It's like the end of the world. Oh my gosh, we have to do take all these drastic measures. And now they're saying, well, we didn't take all the drastic measures. We barely did anything, but it was enough to change things.
Yeah, that's a logical flaw. Also, their track record isn't very good. You mentioned, Mike mentioned Al Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Al Gore was saying the Arctic was going to be ice-free by, I think it was 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2006, it seems to me now has been about 20 years ago, and there's still, trust me, I don't live that far from the Arctic. There's still ice up there. You go up to Prudhoe Bay, and there's still ice. We don't have an ice-free Arctic yet. We don't have, a lot of the dire things. Paul Ehrlich, back in the 70s, was predicting by the middle 1980s that there'd be mass global famines because the Earth couldn't produce enough grain to feed us all. Well, that wasn't right either. And you mentioned Greta, the doom pixie. I'm sure she's made some predictions too. She's probably now predicting a Palestinian victory over Israel because that seems to be her thing these days.
The chances of that happening are the same as her getting an actual decent hairdo.
Yeah. I feel kind of bad for her sometimes because I really think she's been so misguided from her very, very youth that she's effectively brainwashed. I don't think she had any say in what's happened to her. But be that as it may, the logical flaws are there, and the scientific flaws are there. The climate is changing. I mean, whether we have anything to do with it or not, we're in an interglacial period, and this climate's been warming slightly with some dips and peaks ever since the last major glaciation, which ended about 13,000 years ago.
Okay, let me follow up on that, because the idea that climate is dynamic, climate is not static. And when you put it that way, people go, well, yeah, of course. And also there have been a number of looks at, well, wait a minute, is that fraction of a percent that's a little bit warmer overall, is that really a bad thing? Because doesn't that produce more water, which produces more plants, which produces, so the fact of the matter is that warmer climates historically mean more abundant food. So at some point, do we have to look at the basic premise that climate change is bad and go, wait a minute, maybe climate change is good. Warmer temperatures are bad. Well, maybe they're actually good, but it's all about the ideology and the control and the Marxism. It's not about what's actually happening or what we should want or not want.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's about control. The data's there for anybody to see. Yeah, our climate's warming a little bit. Yeah, warming is actually good. It's good for cereal grain crops. In Europe, well, actually all over the northern hemisphere, back about the time of our revolution, we were in the middle of a thing called the Little Ice Age. And there was famine. There was famines in Europe and Asia. There were crop failures all over the place because the temperature dipped for a few years, and it was quite a bit colder than normal. Warmer climates, like the Roman warm period, they were growing wine grapes in Britain. You can't do that now.
Mm-mm.
The fact is, through most of the Earth's history, and we're talking billions of years here, through the vast majority of that history, it's been warmer than it is now, sometimes a lot warmer. Sometimes the CO2 content in the atmosphere has been a lot higher. As recently as the Jurassic and the Cretaceous, it's been a lot higher. And the planet's still here. Life is still on the planet. Everything's still spinning around. And yeah, human activities do have some difference. Everything has some effect. But the question we got to ask ourselves, is it worth surrendering parts of our comfortable, high energy, high tech lifestyle to deal with it? And my answer is no, it's not.
Well, and that's really the crux of it is this idea that not only do we have an impact on it, but that we are like the driving force behind that, like that we are bigger than nature, that we are bigger than the universe, and we are somehow the ones that cause all of these changes that have been part of our planet's development for millions of years.
And you just made me feel powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
We humans are a small part of what goes on this planet. And for me, all I got to do is drive 5 miles up the highway, and I've got a beautiful view of Denali dominating the northern skyline, and it's 150 miles away, and I feel kind of small. But that's easy to do in a place like Alaska.
And I should let people know that Ward is not a small guy. You're a tall guy.
No. Yeah. But in Alaska, we're all kind of small compared to this great land. But the Earth in general, and we've only been here for a blip. Mm-hmm. You know, we've only been here for a couple of 100,000 years out of 4.5 billion. So it's we're a small part of whatever's happening right now. Do we have some effect? Yes, but not to the extent that climate scolds would like to have us believe.
All right, we're visiting with Ward Clark from RedState.com. Ward, has got a couple minutes left here. Another article that you put out yesterday just really jumped out at me. Reptilians, bugs, and Norwegians. CIA vet now claims the U.S. has a secret alien collection. I want a secret alien collection. How do I get one?
You apparently have to be a scientist with the CIA. Although you notice from the article that I took apart for that he never actually saw them himself. It's always, I talked to a guy who has seen them, or I talked to a guy who knew about them. It's never, no, I've got photographs. Look, right here. Look on my phone. Here's pictures of them. Here's pictures of me with them. It's never that. And frankly, this guy worked for the CIA's Psychic Espionage Division, which makes me wonder right off the top of my head. What? Wait a minute. What's this? What's the Psychic Investigation Division? But yeah, Norwegians apparently can be aliens. And I mentioned that I worked with a guy, and this has been years ago. And this guy was a Viking. He had to be 6'6", 6'7". He was broader through the shoulders than anybody I've ever seen. Very gentle-natured, soft-spoken guy, because he could be. And now I'm looking back on him going, was Sven an alien?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think drives this desire? And we all can fall prey to it, this desire to believe. Mm-hmm. So when you hear these sort of sensationalist stories like this, there's that, well, wait, could this possibly be true? What do you think's behind that?
Wow. I wish I was a psychologist.
As opposed to a psychic.
I think it's, as opposed to a biologist, which is a whole different thing. I think there's a lot of it, the same thing that motivates a lot of beliefs and a lot of activities, even the climate change people. They feel the need to be a part of something beyond our everyday lives. And if you imagine that there's aliens, coming to our little planet, for some reason or another, you feel like you're part of a small community that's kind of on the inside. You understand something most people don't. And I've always said, Mike, for years, that if aliens ever land in my yard and a little green man or maybe a big Norwegian man pops out and says, "Take me to your leader," I'm taking him to see Gary Busey.
That sounds like a good plan, Ward.
Yes, I'm in.
Yep.
All right. Ward Clark, we've already tagged John in our social media as well. RedState.com to see a whole bunch of stuff you're covering. What's in the hopper today, by the way?
I have not gotten into it yet, Mike, so I couldn't tell you.
A little early for him.
I will. It's 4:30 in the morning here. But I will be doing my usual thing of popping into the internet, and when something pushes a button, then I write about it. And that's the great thing about this line of work. Everything's new every day.
All right.
Perfect.
Ward, great to chat with you again, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Susie.
And now I have questions about Jerome. Just saying.
He is kind of Viking-like, isn't he?
I've always wondered where he came
Scandinavian
from, too. Okay?
there. Just saying. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought I was a caveman that thought out of the ice. Maybe I'm from space.
There you go.
Maybe you're both. Either way, you know what he's going to be doing on Friday is playing fantastic bump music. So you need to get your suggestions into him. This week's theme is MTV hits, basically.
Yeah, those songs that when you were watching MTV, you were like, I hope they play this one.
All right, so in honor of Bump Day, which I'm still not convinced it is, get your requests into Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
on NewsTalk STL.
Hey, I know we said it's bump day, but it's also a good day to, have lunch or dinner with your friends. And if you haven't made those plans yet and are wondering where you should go, I have a great suggestion for you. It's got great fun, great food from the heart of West County for over 20 years. It's Harpo's Chesterfield, the perfect neighborhood bar. They're close, they're convenient. It's a great sports bar atmosphere. They have great food, which I happen to be a fan of the burgers, but they also have great food specials every day of the week. I always mention on Wednesday, it's a 10-ounce strip steak served with your choice of 2 sides for $15, which is hard to beat. And I talk about Thursday and Friday, but even if you're going Tuesday, like next week, it's Taco Tuesday. 3 tacos served with chips and salsa, $10. How do you beat that? Yeah, don't. So that's why you need to go check out Harpo's. You can check them out on Facebook or Instagram. That's where they list, if they've got upcoming events, that sort of thing. They've got a friendly, energetic staff. They deliver fun food and drinks like no one else. So whether you're dining in or carrying out, make Harpo's Chesterfield your go-to. Visit harposstl.com or check out Harpo's Chesterfield on Facebook or Instagram.
Mother's Day is almost here, and Anthony's Produce has everything you need to make it special. We're blooming this season with locally grown flowers, gorgeous hanging baskets, colorful bedding plants, and stunning flowering pots. Plus, our huge selection of rare tropical plants is sure to impress. And don't forget Mom's sweet side. Treat her to a fresh fruit bouquet or indulgent chocolate-covered strawberries. Our shelves are stocked with the best produce in town, too. Anthony's Produce, open 7 days a week, 7 to 5, on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right. What do the Texas primary results tell us about the direction of the GOP?
MAGA.
Still in charge, without a doubt. Another local police department wants to put drones in the air when you call 911. They should name one Jerome.
And say it's an alien spacecraft.
That drone is not my son. I am not the one.
Jerome the drone.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
Drones, no.
And pro-life work is expanding in St. Louis, and I am not talking about the political part of it. All right, it is 7:52. Let's do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by STL Fenceworks.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They get all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
And here we go. The results in Texas last night, the big race everybody was watching. There were lots of races, but the big one was the Republican runoff between Attorney General Ken Paxton and incumbent Senator John Cornyn, and it turned out to not even be close.
It was a rout.
Wow, it was. Attorney General Ken Paxton, now the Republican nominee, I would think the favorite to be the next senator in Texas. At his speech last night, he obviously did all the thank yous, including to President Trump for the endorsement and to his opponent, John Cornyn, for serving in the Senate for so long, to his supporters. And then he ripped into his general election opponent, which is going to be left-wing Democrat James Tallarico.
James Tallarico is a threat to everything we hold dear in this state and in this country.
And Ken Paxton ended up winning well over 60% of the vote. I mean, I don't know that I have seen a route like that over an incumbent who does not have like a massive scandal. I mean, he's obviously got into it. He got into it with President Trump, but that's not a scandal. That's just politics.
And President Trump didn't go after
Right.
him either. This wasn't like a battle between them. And still, 4-term senator who obviously was pretty high ranking, he had some significant power positions in the Senate. 63.8% to 36.2%.
That's a beating.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Federal and local law enforcement announced results of a month-long crackdown on violent crime here in the region, but centered a lot in the city. Operation Viper ran from April 20th through May 1st. 91 arrests were made, including several fugitives wanted for violent crimes. Deputy Attorney General Andrew Bailey, back in his old stomping grounds, he was in town to discuss that operation.
Every one of these individuals is now being held accountable for violating the law and threatening the safety of the people of St. Louis.
36 weapons confiscated, many of those fully automatic. Police also seized large amounts of fentanyl, meth, and cocaine.
Good.
That
Get
was
it off the streets.
that was local, state, and federal law enforcement altogether.
Good. And it's nice to hear from Andrew Bailey.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about him, like, he's been awful quiet. Yeah. But it means that he's working hard.
He's doing stuff. Yeah. All right. St. Louis police want to add drones to their first response capabilities.
Jerome's drones.
That's right. KMOV's Corey Stark has the details and has some comments from City Police Chief Robert Tracy.
If passed, 6 drones would take to the sky over the city of St. Louis. St. Charles County Police just started using a similar program. City police say drones can get on scene within 70 seconds.
If you need someone that needs medical assistance, you might have a shooting victim there. You can tell them exactly where that person is. If there's someone leaving the scene that's a suspect, they can approach. Sometimes someone can go to the scene. Another officer can go to where the suspect has fled to. There's so many things that this can do.
The Board of Police Commissioners would have to approve the idea. They are expected to consider that, at least talk about it at today's meeting, which starts in like another hour and a half or so.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an idea worth considering. I also understand the concerns, but honestly, if you've got the ability to have oversight on a situation that's going down while it's going down, that can help you apprehend people.
I mean, the logic is there, obviously, but this is how things like this start. Hey, we solved one solution. How much further can we keep taking it? That creep is something.
Yeah, the mission creep.
Mission creep.
I totally get that too. But then if you take that mentality, then do you ever solve any problems? Because any solution taken to the extreme could be a bad thing.
Benjamin Franklin said, "I'd prefer dangerous liberty over peaceful servitude."
He did, but I'll still pose the same question. Can you have any solutions if eventually they could lead to a bad thing?
I mean, you can.
Solutions in moderation.
Yes, but you don't just start throwing technology at everything because the end point always inevitably becomes more tyranny.
ChatGPT says otherwise.
I can't argue with that.
There you go.
You can, though.
All right. Court documents revealing that police had actually sought a gun violence restraining order, I guess what we would call a red flag order, against the father of one of the gunmen who killed 3 people in a San Diego mosque earlier this month. So here's a report from local TV station in San Diego, Fox 5. The reporter is Tony Shin.
Court papers were filed in January of 2025 by Chula Vista Police. It's a gun violence protective order against Marco Vasquez, the father of 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez. In that emergency order, police highlighted concerns about Caleb's behavior, which included, quote, idolizing Nazis and mass shootings. Also, that Caleb at one point had to be held on a 5150 hold, which is psychiatric detention. The officers were concerned about Caleb's father having at least a dozen firearms at his Chula Vista home.
NewsTalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio every weekend on NewsTalkSTL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Another Trump-endorsed candidate has cruised to victory, this time in Texas. Ken Paxton handily defeating incumbent U.S. Senator John Cornyn in a Republican primary runoff. Paxton tells backers he is honored to have President Trump's support, adding that a Trump endorsement is the most powerful force in politics. Cornyn says that he has always supported the Republican ticket and will do so this November when Paxton faces Democrat James Tallarico. A former president is taking the DOJ to court.
Joe Biden is suing the Justice Department in an attempt to block the release of audio recordings and transcripts of Biden's interviews with a ghostwriter. The files were obtained by the special counsel who investigated Biden's handling of classified documents during his time as a senator and vice president. Biden's lawyers say the Justice Department plans to release the files to Congress and a conservative group, the Heritage Foundation. They say the disclosure would constitute an unwarranted invasion of Biden's privacy. Biden did the interviews at his home in 2016 and 2017 when he was vice president. Mike Hempen, Washington.
The failure of a huge chemical storage tank at a paper mill in Longview, Washington.
There were multiple critical injuries, and patients were transported to hospitals in Longview and throughout the Vancouver-Portland area.
Fire Battalion Chief Mike Gorsuch.
We can also confirm there were fatalities related to the incident. We are not confirming or giving the information on their names until Their families have been notified.
There are people unaccounted for as well in the aftermath of that chemical tank explosion. President Trump meets with his cabinet today at an especially precarious moment for talks aimed at ending the war with Iran. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 90 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 262 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, if your loved one is aging but still mobile, still values their independence, there's a simple tool that keeps them safe and keeps you in the know. I am proud to tell you about Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. Safety Plus is a wearable device that alerts you immediately if your loved one has had a fall. They can wear it as a necklace, on their belt, but there's even a great watch option. There's even a simple push button on the device allowing mom or dad instant access to emergency services. As you age, it's not like you plan for a fall. Suddenly your knee might lock up. There's an uneven surface, wet floor. There's simply no excuse to not wear something discreet that keeps you safe and can keep you at home longer. That's Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. To see if you qualify for a free device, call 888-870-8020, 888-870-8020, or visit ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Again, 888-870-8020. With Connected Caregiver, peace of mind is just a phone call away.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday. For the most part, looking dry even as we head off into Sunday. Partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Not every day you get to talk to a J6er, and specifically listener Enrique, who's going to talk to us about the weaponization bill being a J6er. That's all happening Wednesday at 9:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Is there anything in your life that is not Trauma Olympics?
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, St. Louis.
There's no crying in baseball.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, so on Tuesday, we went over just the facts. Here's what's going to be on the ballot. Man, we did a little opinion stuff, but we basically just said, here's what you're voting on.
Yes.
So let's do a Freedom Caucus-y take on those Missouri ballot amendment proposals that we're going to be deciding in August.
Ooh.
Now, November, we're obviously going to be deciding Amendment 3, which is the crucial pro-life amendment that we have that. But we can talk about that later because that's later on. But we've got four decisions, particularly two really big decisions to make in August. And obviously, we're buddies with the Freedom Caucus here in News Talk STL, at least on the morning show here. And they are led by their fearless leader, which would be Tim Jones, who joins us right now. So, Tim, Amendment 1, not particularly controversial. Basically, are we going to extend that 0.1%, sales tax in order for, conservation and state parks and stuff like that? I have a policy of voting against every tax, but this one's not particularly controversial. From at least, is there anything from the Freedom Caucus perspective we need to know about, or is this just pretty much business as usual?
Yeah, Mike. Good morning. Good morning to you and Jerome. This is a periodic renewal of a current tax. Look, if you don't like sales taxes and you don't think that this is the proper scope of government, that government should not be funding this type of mechanism, then vote no. If you feel that this is a proper role of government and that you're a big fan of Missouri's conservation efforts, then vote yes. The Freedom Caucus, no particular position on this. It is a consumption-based tax. We prefer in the Freedom Caucus world consumption taxes, as you and Jerome have discussed, along with Susie many times. That is emblematic of the fair tax system, which has been something that conservatives have promoted throughout the generations.
Yeah, and this one, overwhelmingly, Missourians over the years have renewed this one, so I doubt we're even going to hear that much about this one. So let's talk about Amendment 2. Now, this one's interesting because I don't know that it affects us here. It looks like this is more targeted at the other side of the state over in Jackson County where Kansas City is. And so this is so narrow. This is the wonky get into the weed stuff where people are going to show up, Tim, and they're going to look at the ballot and go, what the heck does that mean? And so essentially, if you are in a charter county, then the state constitution would be changed to say charter counties must elect an assessor. What brought this on, and why do we care?
Mike, I believe this is specifically relating to Jackson County. So you're technically not supposed to write special laws, but the legislature often writes special laws, right? And so in order to get around that, you describe the county at issue in a particular way. You do it by its designation, its population. So this is in reference to Jackson County. We have an elected assessor here in St. Louis County, in the county of St. Louis. So Jackson County has decided they would like to go that route as well. I think that's a good thing, have more elected accountable officials than appointed ones. It doesn't mean it's not necessarily partisan, right? Because we support many Republicans and conservatives supported an elected assessor in the county of St. Louis, knowing that it would be difficult to elect a Republican. We'd have a shot at it, but it would be difficult. We have not had one yet. It's the elected assessor here is Jake Zimmerman, who's running for county executive. Same, I would argue the argument is likely the same in Jackson County. You're not necessarily going to get a Republican there. It's possible, but you will then get someone who has to stand for election, who has to show that their work to the people is fair and appropriate and as low as possible across the board. And you're just holding an assessor more accountable versus a simple appointment system.
We're visiting with Tim Jones. Of course, you can hear him every afternoon here from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock with Chris Arps here as well. All right, let's talk about the big stuff here. Amendment, let's go with Amendment 4 here on this one. This is an amendment to change the amendment process. So there's always two things on this. There's what the change would actually be, which to me seems like you may disagree, Tim. Tell me if you do. But I think that this increase in the threshold to change the Constitution is really mild. I don't even think it's that big of an increase in the threshold, but at least it's a little more. And people need to understand this does not stop referendums from addressing laws or lack of laws or things. We're only talking about the state constitution here.
Correct. Mike, the big three this year are Amendments 3, 4, and 5. Those amendments were placed on the ballot through the work, the sponsorship, the chairmanships, the advocacy of the members of the Missouri Freedom Caucus. There were plenty of conservative allies along the way. Don't want to take anything away from them, but these initiatives were championed because these are initiatives that, if passed, are going to do one of two things. They're either going to protect Missouri from leftist special interests, or they're going to promote Missouri. They're going to help grow Missouri into the future. So I am not going to apologize for my stances on these. Amendments 3, 4, and 5 need to be yes, yes, and yes. And yes, I do work currently. All of you know I do a lot of state government affairs work. I work for groups that are promoting these as well. Well, that's because I've stood for these things since the beginning of my political time in life. I campaigned on all of these items when I was running for state representative back in 2006. So we're talking 20 years of a very certain and known philosophy. And that's where I've stood. And that's where the Freedom Caucus stands as well. So yeah, let's put Amendment 3 aside for just a moment. Yeah. It's very important. Many would argue it is the most important because it protects life. And without life, you don't have any of these other debates. But that one will be on the November ballot. Mm-hmm. Yes. What's on in August? 4 and 5. You asked about Amendment 4. That is the Protect Missouri Constitution. Yes, it does increase the threshold in one aspect. It makes it harder to amend Missouri's constitution, as it always should have been, right? I don't know where they came up with this idea. In fact, some people have done some research on this and learned that it was in the early 1800s that a group of progressive liberals in the city of St. Louis somehow got this into our Constitution. It was not there since the founding of Missouri in 1821. It popped up in kind of the progressive era of the early 1900s. And it was a way for liberals to put in mob rule into our Constitution. And most states do not have the ridiculously low threshold that we have. And so what is that? What has that made Missouri? It has made Missouri a massive target for special interests, leftist special interest, out of state leftist special interest, and even worse, foreign special interest. Mike, do you know that Missouri now ranks number 4 in the country of the amount of money that is flooded in here from out of state and out of country foreign leftist interest? We're now around $50 million of money that's been poured into here over the last 6 years, primarily on the Obamacare Medicaid expansion proposal that passed 5-6 years ago, and on the abortion on demand, gender affirming care ideology, bad Amendment 3 that ended up in our Constitution in 2024. $50 million. Why? Well, because it's easy, right? It's really easy right now for leftist special interests to target deep red Missourians and say, hey, we got it done here. We can get it done anywhere. This is what happened to Colorado in our lifetimes. Not that long ago, Colorado was a deep red state. They have an initiative petition process very similar to Missouri's. So Amendment 4 is going to change that. And only that, as you pointed out, it will not affect the statutory referendum process at all. If you are a special interest and you want to try to amend Missouri statutes, and Katie bar the door, you can try and do that all day long. What we're saying is our Constitution should not become a phone book of mob rule, fad of the day, leftist special interest ideology. But that's what's happened to it. We have Medicaid expansion in there. We have abortion on demand in there. We have gender affirming ideology in there. Why in the world would that stuff be in your Constitution? Well, because it's really easy for the leftists to put it in there. And so Amendment 4 would say that you will have a 2-step process to amend our Constitution now. I think that's pretty fair. 2-step process, not a 30-step process, a 2-step process. You have to pass the initiative with 50% plus 1 of the entire electorate, as it is now, but you also need a majority in all 8 of our congressional districts. It's got to be something that's popular for the entire state. And there are things that are really, really popular, right? We have seen 80% issues go into our Constitution over the last couple of decades, but they need to be stuff that's approved across the board. A Constitution should be really hard to amend. The U.S. Constitution is really hard to amend. Why is the Missouri Constitution so easy?
Okay, so does this just apply to the referendum petitions? Like, for instance, when the legislature puts an amendment on the ballot, will it be subject to the same thresholds as a petition-driven referendum?
No. Legislative referendums will still only need 50% plus 1. And people say, well, that's not fair. And I go, yeah, it is, because that's called representative democracy. The legislature should have the same thresholds that they do for anything, right? Because they are the elected representatives. When a referendum, when a ballot proposal goes through the legislature, it is fully vetted by the people's representatives and senators for at least 5 months if it goes through in one session. There are a bazillion different eyeballs on that. It goes through the House. It goes through the Senate. It's subjected to public hearings. There's debate on the House floor. There's always extended debate on the Senate floor. And then only then does it go to the people for approval. So anything done by the legislature will maintain the same threshold. So you will petition your representatives or your senators if you want something to go through the legislative process. But if it's, quote, citizen-led, and that's a huge misnomer now, isn't it? I can't think of a single citizen-led ballot proposal that has been passed over the last several decades, because they've all been funded by very few special interest groups, as I said, largely outside the state of Missouri, and in several cases outside the country. George Soros has been amending our Constitution. Hans-Jörg Wyss, the Swiss billionaire, the Swiss version of George Soros, has been amending our Constitution. How do we know this? Because all you got to do is follow the money. And as I mentioned, over $50 million has poured into Missouri from outside our state, outside our country, to absolutely crush our Constitution over the last several years. So the Missouri Freedom Caucus led the battle on this, got it through in the special session last fall. It's on the ballot. It's Amendment 4. And if you want to protect Missouri's Constitution from any future attack, you need to vote yes on August 4th.
Okay, we're a little over time here real quick, but give me the Cliff's Notes version, Amendment 5. This is the income tax repeal. And what's, I think, one of the things, and I talked to Ben Keithley and Nick Shore about this when we had our town hall meeting on this, is that the messaging is going to be very, very difficult on this because we're talking about instructing the legislature to repeal the income tax over time. But the way that that's going to be done is not going to be defined in the Constitution. Basically, it's pass it so then we can pass legislation to make it happen under the direction of the Constitution. And that sounds a little wonky because we are talking about very complex stuff.
Yeah, well, Amendment 5, Mike, provides the opportunity to axe the tax. That's how I can nutshell it down as simple as possible. It provides the opportunity to eliminate Missouri's income tax. Why do we have to go to the Constitution first? Well, because our tax code has been made into Swiss cheese over the last 50, 60 years. Do you know we have over 1,000 exemptions in our tax code? So the special interest, Mike, they've gotten all their tax relief, right? And the carve-outs, and then we have technology. There are things that aren't even subject to taxation that should be. Like, why does the mom and pop store have to pay taxes, but people can avoid that by going online? We have a screwed up, completely upside down system of taxation in our state. We have to eliminate the insidious tax on our labor, the tax on our paychecks, that's the income tax, and move to a consumption-based system. I heard a conversation that you and Jerome had maybe about a month ago. I was up in Jefferson City. I was listening to you on the app one morning, and Jerome got it. He said, hey, are you telling me that my income will not be taxed anymore, but I can decide what I'm going to pay taxes on because we're going to move to a consumption-based system? Exactly. You get to decide what you're going to pay tax on, and I think that's what most people want, is control over their lives in that way. So you have to go to the Constitution first to provide the framework for that and the mandate to the legislators. And here's the beauty of then the follow-up legislatively. If you need to make any changes or something's not working out quite the way you expected, because we're dealing with economics here and future projections, then the legislature can always be called into a special session, or they can, if it's not an emergency, they can fix our tax code then in future legislative terms. So this provides a lot of flexibility, but it puts us on that path to zero to eliminate the insidious income tax. That's Amendment 5. Once again, yes on 4, yes on 5. Mike, we've got 70 days until August the 4th, believe it or not.
Yep. All right, Tim Jones, going to hear him every afternoon here with Chris Arps as well. Tim, thanks so much.
Thanks, gang. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up here, we've got the St. Charles County executive primary debate. That's coming up this coming Tuesday, June 2nd. It is free, no RSVP needed. Going to happen at the Scheidegger Center on Lindenwood University's campus. Details are at newstalkstl.com. This is us, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, all teaming up to bring you this debate. Susie and I are going to be on the panel. Jamie Allman is going to be the moderator. You can send me the questions that you would like the candidates to be asked. Email them to me right now. Mike@newstalkstl.com. Obviously, come on out. I will take as many of the questions as I have time to ask from you. So start sending them to me now.
Great time in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield. Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis. Or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
We're through being cool. We're through being cool. Eliminate the minis and the twits. Going to bang some heads.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
A lot of comments on those constitutional amendments, and particularly the Amendment 5, the income tax repeal one, which that's going to be an intense 70 days of that campaign. I mean, there's going to be a lot to it because we're talking about a major change.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about completely changing, the premier way that the state generates revenue. So people, are going to say, are we willing to look at states that have done this and succeeded and go there, or are we comfortable with the status quo is basically what's being asked.
And I can understand if you're very much more fiscally liberal than I am, then of course you're like, well, no, I want to keep buying all the same luxuries and all the same little goodies that I've been able to get for the same price. But when I do my own calculations, I would actually come out even a little bit richer than if I didn't have to pay for my income tax and if I have to keep doing things the way they are now.
Well, and what happens is basically, I think somebody was commenting yesterday, but there's a huge percentage of people who don't pay any income tax in the state of Missouri.
Which is not technically true, though.
Yeah. Now, there are people who don't, but here's the thing. They're not contributing to the major source of the state's revenue. So those are, let's just be real, those are the people who are going to be accepting a lot of the benefits from the state. So if we make this change, and you can say it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but the reality is that they will be contributing, whereas they're in a lot of ways not now, or not as much as other people. You would be forced to have some skin in the game. And also you just look at states that don't have an income tax and they're bigger and they've got bigger budgets and they do better than we do.
Well, it's more rewarding to workers. I mean, that's the uncomfortable part of these conversations that people don't want to acknowledge is that, yes, when I looked it up, because somebody was arguing that the majority of Missourians don't pay income tax, and that's just not true. It's about 25% of all Missourians, mostly because if you don't have an income, you don't pay income tax.
Or it's below 9,000 and whatever it is.
Yeah, and then at the same time, there are a lot of people that do get tax refunds, but you still pay into the tax. It's just the government saying, oh, we tax you too much. Here, have some of your own money back. You could avoid that entirely if you just kept more of the money to begin with. But I do think that if you are a worker in Missouri, and you don't have to pay your income tax, you're bringing home more of what you actually worked for, and then you can decide if you want to spend it. If you're not working or working enough, if you're not pulling your fair share, as a lot of these people like to say, then why is it okay for you guys to not do that, but then the rest of us get punished when you guys are not pulling your own weight?
So here's what's going to happen is if this passes, and I don't know if it's going to pass. I'm not convinced it's going to pass. If it passes, then there's going to be an army, legions, hordes of lobbyists swarming the state capitol, basically arguing for their industry or their product or their service getting exemption. And there are some exemptions that are going to be put in there, I think, that everybody agrees with, again, assuming Amendment 5 passes, which I don't know that it's going to. I think that basically anything in healthcare industry is not. So you go to the doctor, you get your consultation, they're not going to tax that. You get a medical whatever device, not going to be subject to the tax. That's going to be exempted. The realtors in Missouri have incredible political power. They want exempted from it too because they want to protect their industry. They're probably going to get that. So everybody is going to argue that their industry is so important that they need to be exempted from the tax. And so that's going to be what you're going to see. And you're going to see some things in there. You're like, wait a minute, why is that getting exempted? Well, because they had enough political power. But then what you're talking about is expanding the amount of things so there are things like, for instance, your internet service, your streaming service, your Hulu, your whatever. You don't pay a sales tax on that in the state. Well, you will.
Mm-hmm.
After this, and so if that passes, so those are the choices. Those are the tough choices to make.
We have our good friend Andre that wants to make a quick comment about this.
All right, Andre, let's hear it, man. What do you think?
Well, first off, I'm fully on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think we need to go to a consumption-based tax. I would like to make a slight caveat to what you said about people not paying income tax in the state. I'm one of those people, but the way I work 2 jobs. And my wife owns a business, but the way we get around it is by donating to things like the Mo Scholars program or some of these other tax incentives, so we don't pay income tax. So there are I know a lot of people who do the same thing. So I think it's a slight unfair characteristic to say, well, these are the people that are just taking, because there's a lot of people out there. Missouri has a lot of these programs that allow people to get out of paying income tax if they're donating to these worthy causes.
Yeah, since I was the one that made the comment, I appreciate you pointing that out as well. And yes, there are deductibles. I believe it's the Roth IRA. If you have one of those,
that's more federal than
anything. But there are programs, and there are ways that you can allocate your funds to lower the amount that you would have to potentially be on the line for income. Mm-hmm. I think it's more specifically when the individual that was debating with me before was implying that it's the average person in general in Missouri, not people that are just financially intelligent that are able to get around that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, Andre, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andre.
No problem. Have a good one.
Yeah, because the thing is that the opponents of this, and there's some people who argue, I think, in good faith. They're either I'm uncomfortable with the change. I would just rather have the guaranteed income for the state, and it's government first thinking on it, which is, for some people they think that's a good thing. I'm not saying that as an insult. They just prefer that government first thinking happen. But they also, some of the activists in there basically say now it's going to mean we're going to have to triple the sales tax. Okay, even if you're against Amendment 5, that's not true.
No.
I mean, under no economic system does that turn out to be true. One, because if the state doesn't generate the revenue with the growth, then they're not allowed to bring down the income tax anyway. The money has to be there before the income tax goes down under what's proposed on the Constitution. So, if you say, but I just prefer the income tax because it's a guaranteed thing. Okay, well, that's fine. That's defensible. Mm-hmm. But when you say we're going to have to jack up the sales tax by 300%, that's just demonstrably false. That's just not true.
Well, and I want to touch on something that Andre just said as well. So clearly the people that are financially literate are already finding ways to not have to owe an income tax in general.
Right.
So it's not like it's going to be that much different if everybody has that option. It's not like he's going to stop donating stuff. It's not, you still get your deductibles.
But the incentives are there. I mean, I would rather give money to Mo Scholars or to Reach or to whatever than to the state government.
And then on top of that, think about how many people from different bordering areas will come to our side to spend some money. Think about how much of a tourist destination that Kansas City can be in some, well, when St. Louis gets its act together.
Yeah.
I still know people from Illinois. They're like, oh, I'd love to visit St. Louis because they don't know yet. But these people will then be paying a little bit more, and that will kind of, so I do think it's very much more rewarding to the business owners and the workers and the people that actually live here to reduce, and hopefully eliminate both the property tax and the income tax, and then try to develop more of an incentive for people to come here.
You're talking about trade-offs is what we're talking about. And the thing is that there's a lot of deep in the weeds policy wonk stuff. And let's be really honest, a lot of people tune out when it gets too complicated, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who are arguing just based on false premises. There are arguments against it. There are arguments for it. I think we should be able to hash those out. But the thing is that it is very complicated. It's not as an easy thing as people would like to say. But here's what we do know is that a broader tax base means that you have to tax each entity, person, business less.
Yes.
When you broaden that, that's the idea. And then one of the arguments is, but some people don't have enough money. We shouldn't tax them at all. They should just receive from government. Yeah, and we're talking about obviously the much lower income. as opposed to, well, you broaden it. They're not buying as much stuff anyway. They're not going to pay as much in sales taxes, but sales taxes are by definition regressive. They affect people of lower incomes more than they affect people of middle or upper incomes. That's all fair to talk about. That's all part of the policy issue.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that we're actually having these conversations, because if tax stuff was easy, there would be no need for accountants and auditors and all those sorts of people. So sometimes it's just good to have your views expanded beyond what you already believe. But in that same vein, we will soon have an answer on those recall petitions. We'll update that you on that coming up here at 8:35.
Factions underground. Chase down Mr. Hinky Dink. So no trace.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I've driven all over Washington, D.C. I cannot find the money tree.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures towards mid to lower 80s this afternoon. A few chances of some spotty showers and thunderstorms. Mainly going to be looking at some heavier downpours as a primary threat. Then into Thursday, 85 degrees, mostly dry. Friday could see a few chances of some spotty showers off to the south of the St. Louis Metro. Temperatures close to 80 degrees, 82 into Saturday. For the most part, looking dry, even as we head off into Sunday, partly sunny skies. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
Fox News commentary with Ryan Priebus. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Ryan Priebus reacts to the Democrats' report on why they lost to Trump in 2024.
It tells you all you need to know. The conclusion of the report is blank. All of the numbers are unreliable. The numbers on turnout are wrong. The numbers on the media buys are wrong. Everything in it is wrong. So number one, they released it and disavowed it. That just tells you they have total dysfunction. Number two, they dodged the biggest questions of the election. Biden's age. Inflation, yeah, maybe Gaza, the Kamala Harris handoff. They did conclude that they lost touch with all of their core values. I mean, their core constituency. They wrote an autopsy, but they forgot the most important thing. What was the cause of death?
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, WowDiamonds.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
101.9 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Best I Can from Queensryche.
Yeah.
Off the Empire album.
People have been sending me lots of pressure to play some of these older hits from Queensryche, so I figured I'd cave in. Okay, I didn't mean to say older. I meant to say these vintage, these classic.
You're not helping.
These retro.
I was in college when this came out.
Oh, no. Okay. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Oh, man. All right. We're going to know this whole thing in Festus. This is a big deal. This recall thing over the data center stuff. We're going to know tomorrow if that recall effort in Festus is approved for the ballot.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to have more details in the news dump, but I wanted to mention at least once an hour, our friends at Reach Reproductive Health, they are now opening a third location. That announcement was made on kind of their email subscription. They send out, email updates. Honestly, I knew about this a little bit ago because Levi told me about it. But in Dutchtown, a donor has given them the space to open up another location.
Wow.
So that's fantastic. So they need obviously to build it out, and they need to prepare it. And so more details in the news dump coming up. But essentially what we're going to ask you, what they're going to ask you for is, they're always looking for donations. Don't get me wrong. But they're looking for people who say, you know what, I can go sweep and haul out some debris. I can paint. I know how to nail 2x4s together. I can do a little bit. And so that's what they're going to be asking for. So we'll hit that in the news dump here in 11 minutes or something like that. Get some details there. 8:38 going on 8:39 right now. Okay, let's talk about this thing in Festus. I think because the eyes of the whole region are on it. Now, data center debates are happening all over the place. And don't think it's just St. Louis. It's happening all over the country. And in Festus, it's not even so much just about the data centers. It is about that, but it's not just about that. So I was looking at the various TV stations' coverage of the city council meeting last night, and the place was packed. And that's not a big city hall, but it was full, and people were mad, and it didn't look like the opinion was particularly divided. It was opponents of the data center. So in case you're new to the show, here's the 15-second version. The city approved a $6 billion project to build a data center kind of on the outside of town, or towards the city limits. It's in the town, but it's towards the city limits. Half the city council has already been thrown out in the last election, primarily because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So for or against, you decide, but that's the way it's supposed to work. You don't like the way your representatives are doing something, then you vote for somebody else. Well, the activists who threw them out said, we're not done. And they have done recall petitions against the mayor and the other three members of the council, or three other members of the council, because they supported this. Now, these are people who would be up for re-election in April, this coming April. But they're trying to hold a special election, which would likely happen in November, to throw them out now. And so tomorrow is the deadline for the county clerk in Jefferson County, Clerk Goff. She's got to say whether it qualifies for the ballot or not. So she's already told me, she goes, it sure looks like they've got enough signatures. A lawyer for the mayor and the council members saying they didn't follow the right procedures, that they didn't write this isn't what the law allows. And so the county clerk is in this horrible position to look at all of these signatures and decide whether or not they qualified to put this on the ballot. Now, if I were her, unless there is some glaring illegality, which I don't know that anybody's arguing that there is, don't get mad at her for putting it on the ballot. Or if she says, well, this didn't follow the rules, don't get mad at her for not doing it. She's in a horrible position.
Oh, absolutely.
I would not want to be in her position. If I were her, unless there's something so egregious, you certify it for the ballot and then let the courts handle it. She's doing her job. Mm-hmm. Just leave her alone, So we'll find out tomorrow whether or not it gets approved or rejected. My guess is that it's going to be approved. And so then you've got the question is this what recalls are for? The recall petitions are basically, we're mad at you. We don't like the way you did this, but there's no specific argument that there was some illegality or theft or embezzlement or corruption, just we don't like the deal you made and you should have been more transparent doing it. Okay, so is that what the recall process is for, or do you get mad at him and you vote him out in the next April election? That's a big part of the debate as well. But right now, it looks like if the election were held right now, I think they'd throw out the rest of their city government.
Well, and I can understand that there are protocols and laws in place to protect elected officials from this sort of thing for a reason. I can also understand, though, that if enough people feel truly betrayed by this, and they are like, I don't care what anything else you've done, this was the big number one thing that matters, and you have betrayed our trust, and we want to get rid of you, then why not should the people have the right to say, well, look, we need to not get what we voted for? I think
they can get rid of him in the next election.
Okay, but once again, if you feel that betrayed, why would you, if I'm constantly picking your pocket every time you see me, why would you not just say, look, we need to get rid of this guy, he's picking our pockets? Why, if I keep espousing, liberal ideologies, why would you not just say, look, we need to find somebody else that better represents what we're doing here? That's how I look at politics.
I think the bottom line is there is an argument for the stability. I mean, you reference protecting the politicians, and to some degree, I think that's correct. But it's also a matter of, do you want to get, because we see what happens in Europe. Coalition government, new prime minister calls for an election. They just kind of do it whenever, and there's a lot of instability that goes with that. And with the data center thing, I think there's a lot of people motivated because they've studied it and they've decided they don't like it. Other people have studied it and they're like, well, yeah, we want this. Other people I've heard this is really bad and I should be really scared, and so they've gotten really active, not completely understanding what they're active about.
Well, that's just most voters in general, I would say.
Right. Well, but isn't that more of a reason to not just put a check on the establishment, but put a check on the democracy as well, to say, well, a republic means you pick the people who make the decisions and then you hold the people accountable. But at the same time, you live with your choices. You elect them. It's a 2-year term. And we're not talking about, I haven't seen any allegations that there's been any crime or, kickbacks or theft or embezzlement. If that's a whole thing, that's a whole different thing. Then yeah. But the question then comes down to is, do we get into a thing where I get mad at you and now we know how to generate a petition really fast? So where's that line between that stable, reliable foundation and accountability as well, especially when you're talking about 2-year terms, and we're talking about less than a year left in this one.
Well, yes, but I mean, again, 2 years, a lot can change and a lot can happen if you're not governing and you're not representing the people the proper way, right? I think that because of the nature of this specific issue, if it was the opposite, if the people said, yes, please, we want a data center, give it to us, and they were like, we're not doing that, I would have the same opinion, even though I'm a very much anti-data center guy. This particular topic, and there are a small handful of other ones, where it has become so nonpartisan, where I've seen Democrats and Republicans and libertarians and anarchists and who else out, Green Party people, everybody coming together, and they say, we don't want this here. And so if you have an overwhelming majority of people, not just the people that are, hey, we're the Democrats, we have 50% plus one, and now we're going to recall you because we don't like Republicans, that's completely different. I think that when it comes to something where if enough people are showing up, making their voice heard to the point where they're willing to kick out baby with the bathwater, the person that didn't even vote for it got eliminated as well. I think when it becomes something that contentious for the people, that you sort of should have that at least maybe once per few cycles, like a get out of governance free card or something.
Governance.
Yeah, I don't want to see it become like Europe and these other places where it's just, oh, hey, we have the majority now, let's go ahead and shake everything up. I don't want, that's what we're doing with this redistricting nonsense. But I do think that in certain instances, that is what the spirit of we the people being our own government and holding our our representatives accountable for. This is, I think it's a great idea.
So here's the timeline. So tomorrow's the deadline. I mean, she could announce today that it's either qualified or not qualified, but she has to do it by sometime tomorrow. And then if she says the signatures are there, I don't find any glaring legal issues here, it goes on the ballot, and then she can just wipe her hands of it and go, you guys do with it what you will. Or she's going to say, county attorneys, or we consulted with whoever, and it looks like this doesn't meet with the law. Well, then she's going to catch crap for that. My guess is that she's going to announce the signatures are there, and then the voters will decide because they went through that process. And then at that point, then it becomes, yes or no, do you throw out the rest of the city government or not? And then that's likely going to be on the ballot in November, most likely. So if she announces today, we'll be talking about tomorrow. If she announces tomorrow, we'll be wrapping up the week talking about it then, and probably trying to get some voices from Festus on the program here, because it's not just about Festus. Every other community is watching what happens here on this as well.
It's getting exciting.
It's getting spicy, that's for sure.
You know, also is very exciting, though, is 80s bump music. And, of course, today
Always
is...
exciting.
Yep, and today is
Bump Day!
And that's a day where we actively call on you to submit your 80s bump music requests. This week's theme is going to be MTV hits. So these are the songs, if you were watching MTV and you were like, oh boy, I hope this is the next song, what would you want to see?
See, you probably don't feel what that means when that came in. I'm telling you, I know exactly what that vibe is all about.
MTV was a reality channel when I was old enough to watch it.
No,
so.
it was, and it actually played music when it first came on.
Is that what the M stands for?
That's what, yes.
Oh.
I mean, and so it was, you would sit and watch for hours hoping that your favorite song was going to come on. Or the favorite video was going to come on, because you could not like a song, but really like the video.
Susie was saying that, actually, yeah. So don't worry. So, yeah, this is, if you were watching MTV, this is just a song that you hoped was coming up next.
You know, a lot of people will have big debates and arguments, and they will break fellowship over things like, data centers, or they will break with things like different amendments. But you know what we can all agree on? We can break donuts together. Not break bread, break donuts together. And the best way to do that is through Mario's Donut. Jerome's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? Mario's Donut Restaurant.com. Mike Ferguson here for Mario's Donuts. You know why I love talking about Mario's Donut Restaurant? Because they are not just delicious, but they are different. So, yes, you can go to one of the chain places, or you can go to the convenience store. They're fine. They're donut. But I'm telling you, once you've had the good stuff, you want the good stuff. And Mario's isn't just donuts. Mario's also can do your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, desserts. I mean, from omelets and, egg sandwiches to your tiramisu at dinner, catering, you name it. They've got it right there on Mugi Road. Just put in Mario's Donut. It'll take you right there. MariosDonutRestaurant.com. The entire menu is there, and they just revamped the whole thing. So it's updated, it is new, and it is glorious. And this might be something you want to cater that next office meeting with as well. Mario's Donut Restaurant, also a cool place just to hang out there in the donut coffee shop vibe.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free Market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the Free Market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Larry Connors here. I begin my morning every day with the Mike Ferguson Morning Show while I'm doing my 10-mile run. Catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Okay, anybody have any questions on who's in charge in the GOP? Well, I think those were answered last night.
Definitely answered.
Yep. Also, another local police department wants to put drones in the air when you call 911. Cardinals are hoping to avoid the sweep today. First two games didn't go so well against the Brewers. Yeah, I got the details for you here. 8:52. Let's wrap up with one more news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Great American Divers.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Okay, so I don't think you can credit the president's endorsement entirely with this, but it's certainly probably changed the numbers here. Attorney General Ken Paxton in Texas defeats incumbent Senator John Cornyn by a couple of touchdowns. Actually, he basically almost doubled up his votes. I mean, John Cornyn got just over a third of the votes, a sitting senator who'd been in there for 14 years or whatever. So Attorney General Paxton obviously did his thank yous for his victory speech, but then putting his sights on his Democratic opponent, which would be left-wing nutcase James Tallarico.
James Tallarico is a threat to everything we hold dear in this state and in this country.
Okay, so Paxton won over 60% of the vote. I don't know that anybody saw that margin of victory coming. President Trump's endorsement, I'm sure, helped. But if you're winning with over 60% of the vote, you were going to win no matter what. The president could have stayed out of that. Probably wouldn't have changed the votes on this. But that's a big, big, big victory. As was pointed out a little bit ago, Jerome, somebody said this may be more against the establishment and against incumbents than it necessarily is about any one particular person's endorsement. However, when you look at the president's endorsements and just the win-loss column, you can't deny that he's still the guy who's given the orders for the entire party.
Well, there is something to be said to the fact that there are quite a few people, for some reason, that still believe that President Trump's like the anti-establishment pick. And so I can imagine if you're tired of the establishment and President Trump gives somebody an endorsement, you're going to start viewing them as less part of the establishment. And to your point, not to say it would 100% have switched the numbers by any means, but it does appear that getting a President Trump endorsement is going to be a significant factor when it comes to if you get to keep your position or not.
If it's in a close race still at this point, at that point, and listen, I'm not a MAGA guy. I think they get some things right. I think they get some things wrong. I think like the conservative wing, what's left of it, gets a lot of stuff right, gets a couple things wrong. Just trying to call it the way that I see it. But you just can't deny that Donald Trump basically runs it by decree, by the entire Republican Party.
It's the Trump party
for good or for ill. That's just the way that it is right now. Okay, St. Louis police want to add drones to their first response capabilities. So the city wants to do basically what St. Charles City is doing at this point. KMOV's Corey Stark has the details and also got some comments from St. Louis City Police Chief Robert Tracy.
If passed, 6 drones would take to the sky over the city of St. Louis. St. Charles County Police just started using a similar program. City police say drones can get on scene within 70 seconds.
If you need someone that needs medical assistance, you might have a shooting victim there. You can tell them exactly where that person is. If there's someone leaving the scene that's a suspect, they can approach. Sometimes someone can go to the scene. Another officer can go to where the suspect has fled to. There's so many things that this can do.
So the Board of Police Commissioners would have to approve the idea. They are expected to consider that at today's meeting, which actually is about to get started. They're like getting their coffee right now,
Oh, wow.
Doing their greetings.
I still don't like it. I understand that. I mean, at least in the case of like medical emergencies, I'm a little bit more lenient for that. But China's got a fantastic system designed around this, and their crime's very low. Why don't we just do what they're doing then? I mean, I was growing up told not to do that, and here we are.
All right, the pro-life work of REACH is growing again. The Pregnancy Resource Center is opening another location, this time in Dutchtown. CEO Levi Hart says a donor has provided the space needed to launch REACH's 3rd location, and they are now in sort of that planning and build-out phase of the process. So they're looking for volunteers to do things like helping to paint, to assemble stuff, furniture, cabinets, whatever, basic construction, and a variety of other needs. So if you say, I don't know how to do renovations, doesn't matter. They've got something you can do. So, of course, they are appealing for donations as well to provide the medical and the counseling services needed. Contact REACH through outreachforlife.org to send them your questions or to say, how can I help out? How can I volunteer? How can my church volunteer? Whatever the case is.
Yeah, what a wonderful thing to be able to put your skills to use in a way that whenever you go past that building, you say, wow, I actually had a hand in helping save lives.
Precisely. All right. How about this? NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman speaking at a news conference held at the NASA headquarters in D.C., providing details on upcoming plans for moon bases and progress toward achieving long-term presence on the surface of the moon. Isaacman providing some of the details on one of 3 moon base missions that's adding that this single base will be the first, what he calls privately funded lunar lander mission in history.
The Blue Origin Mark I Endurance lander will deliver multiple payloads to the Shackleton Connecting Ridge, a strategic area of the lunar South Pole.
Okay, so a permanent base, somebody would be living on the moon.
What a time to be alive.
No kidding. Wow. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Finally, let's wrap up here. The Cardinals have lost 2 in a row to the first-place Brewers. Last night's final score in Milwaukee was 6-0. Final game of that series starts this afternoon at 12:40. Dustin May going to be on the mound for the Redbirds as they try to avoid the sweep, but the Cardinals are still in second place in the National League Central Division.
Congratulations to Scooter. You're still winning.
He's winning. So far, he's winning.